how much you earn. So if you're one of the traditional top 6, you've got massive global revenue streams and you can spend way more while still technically following the rules. Meanwhile, ambitious clubs who've got money like Newcastle, Villa or Forest, well, they're bringing a knife to a gunfight. Newcastle might be backed by Saudi billions, but they just can't splurge the cash. Their commercial income isn't there yet. Want to buy world-class talent? Well, PSR says to them, your owner might have the money, but you're not making enough in shirt sales in Asia for that. The Magpies won their first domestic trophy since 1955, qualified for the Champions League, which you'd think would be a great springboard for them to go on and start building a team to challenge at the top. But because of PSR restraints, they couldn't break their wage structure for a new Alexander Isak contract, and look what's happened there. Nottingham Forest tried to invest to survive. They did that, but they got punished anyway. Meanwhile, clubs like Spurs, until last season, hadn't won a trophy in over 18 years, but because they rake in cash from the new stadium, they get a much bigger PSR allowance than a newly promoted club who are just trying to stay up. And let's not forget the loopholes these big boys are exploiting. Chelsea found the trick with those long contracts, selling the women's team. City are masters of related party sponsorships. Etihad this, Etisalat that, all within the rules, and fair play to them for capitalising on those opportunities. But what about the smaller clubs? They don't have that luxury. Now look, financial sustainability matters. Nobody wants another Bury or Morecambe situation. But there's increasing concern that rather than levelling the playing field, the current rules cement the existing hierarchy. So what's the solution? Well, either loosen the reins so ambitious clubs can spend within their means, or cap spending based on something other than revenue. Otherwise, we're just watching the same 6 teams swapping silverware most seasons while the rest play musical chairs for 7th. And that, folks, ain't what the Premier League was built on.
Very good morning to you. It is 3 minutes past 6, Tuesday, October the 14th. It's a good job I've only got 2 ears, because otherwise it would get really confusing.
Welcome to Talk Sport Breakfast with Ally McCoist and Mr. Bean.
Don't forget Arnold Clark.
Sharp was attack, boy.
Get the UK's best used car deals.
Attack.
Guaranteed. Morning, how are you doing?
Excellent.
Good.
Excellent. Watched the watched Northern Ireland last night, which boy, did they ever go. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed the game. I thought the atmosphere at Windsor Park was fantastic. I was kind of trying to get the other game on as well on my phone, but it kept coming and going. But I've got to say, Jeff, I don't know about yourself, but I really enjoyed the Northern Ireland game.
Oh, I thought I
tell you, Michael O'Neill's got those boys. Cool, they've got some spirit, they've got pace, they've got energy, they've got youth. Yeah,
I thought they were incredibly. Well, not unfortunate, but, you know, they gave 100%. The last 20 minutes or so, well, they were unfortunate because, frankly, the German goal comes off his shoulder.
It does.
You know? So it's unfortunate to concede. They'll be disappointed they conceded from a set play. But I loved Ethan Galbraith, Shea Charles, I thought excellent. Dan Ballard.
He looks, you and I were talking about him. I've got to say, I'm well impressed with Ballard.
Yeah.
Really impressed. You know, he's obviously... he must be in cloud nine at the moment, really enjoying his football, international football, obviously his Premier League football. Things are going really well for him. I thought Yeah, I think you're spot on. Your assessment of the goal was a little bit fortunate. It comes off his left shoulder. Not sure that he knows an awful lot about it. But I don't mind him, by the way, the big centre forward.
Yeah.
Volumada.
No.
Don't mind him.
He did a look. I mean, the Germans did a job.
Yeah.
They did what they came to do.
They were under pressure to get some, weren't they?
Yeah,
and
very much so.
But they were, I wouldn't say it was panic stations at the last 5 minutes, but I can't remember the German saying just kind of kicking it anyway. They were facing, really,
Hacking it. I mean, they were hacking it away.
Of course they were.
Making substitution after substitution to try and kill the game off. Rolling around. Look, I like Florian Wirtz, the player, but stand up, son.
No, I know.
I mean, seriously.
That wasn't it?
With Wales going down as well.
Yeah.
You see, all the Scotland fans who booed Scotland off at the weekend.
Exactly.
Welsh and Irish fans, they love to have been in that position to have had
that was my point yesterday.
Scraped a 2-1 win.
Listen, Jeff, that was my point yesterday. The fact of the matter is, I don't think there's any doubt that probably Wales and Northern Ireland put in a better performance than Scotland did. But if you asked their supporters this morning what would they rather have, it'd be points in the bag. And that's what Scotland got. So, no, I was pretty... I thought I was realistic about the whole situation yesterday. Did Scotland play well either game? No. In fact, nothing like it. They were probably... No, not probably, but they're definitely disappointing, particularly second performance, I felt. But managed to get good points. And then I'm looking at Northern Ireland last night, gave absolutely everything. That crowd, I just, the old Windsor Park, man, I've played there. Place was absolutely rocking. It was great. Really enjoyed the atmosphere. Even enjoyed the bit at the end. There's a bit. Tempers were playing a little bit, and Germans were hanging on, and the wee penalty claim. I'm not sure it was a penalty.
It didn't look like a penalty. It's hard to tell, but it didn't look like it was.
It didn't look like one. But a really enjoyable game, and I've got no doubt we'll talk more about the Welsh performance. I listened to Craig's interview after the game. I thought he was. I thought he was very, very fair. And getting back to the handball, Jeff.
There were two, weren't there?
I thought the second one was, he lifted his arm.
He clearly did. He panicked.
I thought so. But the first one, and he's come out and said I have to do something with the handball rule. I've said that. I don't know how long I've said it for, maybe 18 months. I don't know what the lad's meant to do with his hand. I mean, and it's got to the stage, so the first time really it's made me think good players could get into the box and flick it up off somebody's hand and get a penalty. They could, because I think that is unbelievably harsh.
And it changed the game.
Oh, of course
because
it did.
Wales
Momentum
started brilliantly.
The momentum, with Joe Rodon's header, the whole place, you could just it erupted, didn't it?
Yeah.
And it does change the game. Absolutely just takes the sting, takes the momentum, everything out of the game. Felt for them at that point, because I think it's extremely harsh. I really do.
Yeah, well, let's get a Welsh perspective on events last night, shall we? Here's Nathan Broadhead, who gave his thoughts on the result to talkSPORT after the game.
Disappointment. I think, you could just see this quality today, and it was just unfortunate that we lost.
What happened after the goal? Just a lapse of concentration?
I think we were chasing the game. We didn't come here to draw, and we were trying to win. So credit to the manager and all the players. They tried their best.
Yeah, I mean, I think Craig will be concerned about their defensive record recently. They are conceding a lot of goals, putting themselves in difficult situations in games. I mean, they did that in Belgium. Obviously, the game was over at Wembley against England inside the first, 20-odd minutes. And then they conceded 4 at home to Belgium as well. Admittedly, the boy's right, Nathan Broadhead. They were chasing the game.
Of course they were.
So, but look, I mean, the interesting thing, I was trying to work out, last night. So we know the teams that qualify. How do you get into the playoffs? And of course, the runners-up from every group qualify.
Correct.
But after that, there are still another 4 places in the playoffs, which go to the sides with the highest Nations League ranking, who haven't qualified for the playoffs. So Wales and Northern Ireland...
There's 4 of those then.
Yeah, and Wales and Northern Ireland look certain, regardless of whether they get into the playoffs automatically or not, they look certain to get into the playoffs by that route. That's my understanding.
Well,
I mean, it's mightily confusing.
Oh, it really is. It really is. However, That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
It really would. And looking at their efforts last night, they'd be worthy of that playoff place. Do you know what I was looking again at last night? I couldn't believe it. And I noticed the last performances and last results. Sweden are having an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, bottom of their group, 1 point.
Sweden get beat at home by Kosovo 1-0. 1 point from 4 games, mate.
Yeah. And
they've got Isak and Gyökeres.
yeah, and they brought Elanga on at half time.
That's absolutely
I
unbelievable.
think it's John Dahl Thomason's then
That is-
there. He must be under
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of pressure.
That's what I said. He's under a serious amount of pressure.
Yeah, but they're another one who will reach the playoffs by virtue of their Nations League
amazing.
rankings. It's almost harder not to qualify.
That's what
than it is,
I think
is
I
to
said
qualify.
that. I think I said
by
that
the
to
way,
you yesterday.
Cape Verde,
Brilliant.
yeah. Do
Unbelievable.
you know where it is? I should be
Atlantic.
asking Gabby this, shouldn't I? You know,
Well,
where's Cape Verde?
I'm gonna have a go at it. I wouldn't claim
Yeah,
it.
you're right.
It's in the Atlantic. I think it was owned. It was Portuguese until 1975, and it's in the Atlantic.
You've been swatting up.
Well, no,
You didn't automatically know
no.
it was Portuguese till
Yeah, I did.
1975.
I did. I actually no, I didn't know it until 1975. I knew it was Portuguese, but when I saw they qualified, I had a wee look, and I did see it was 19. I couldn't have told you it was Portuguese before, but I couldn't have told you the date. 1975. They got was it Morocco? They beat 1-0. They had a fantastic result prior to the one that got them there.
I think for the last few years,
Aye.
they've done tremendously well.
Quarterfinals of the African nations and things like that.
Yeah.
It's a remarkable story. Second least populated country to qualify for the World Cup behind who?
Iceland.
Oh, you've been sworn up as well.
Yeah. Talking of Iceland, of course,
Yes.
I mean, they held France to a 2-2 draw last night as well, and Jean-Philippe Mateta scored his first goal for
I saw
France.
that. I saw that. Iceland are one of these countries in recent years you just don't fancy playing. You know, as an international side, you know, over the period, you'll get sides that come up you don't fancy playing them. Iceland have been one of these teams the last 6-7 years. Ever since they put a lot of money in their funding, a lot of money into artificial surfaces and coaching, and they've certainly been reaping the benefits. Yeah, that was a good result from 2-2 against France.
Yeah, I mean, look at Becky's question when we're talking. I mean, about one or two of these sides. You mentioned the Faroe Islands yesterday, for example.
Yeah.
Whether all the World Cup is already over diluted. I mean, that is, you know, is
Well,
a
it
big
is.
question.
That's probably a discussion, but I think it is.
Yeah.
You know, you did you say to me yesterday that going to thinking about putting up again the number of teams for the next World Cup?
Yeah, they've been talking about 64, haven't they? Goodness gracious, I don't know. I've got a text in. He said, woke up in a panic, snoozed my alarm. Have I missed Ali's travel blog? Well, he only came from the hotel up the road, so it would be a relatively short
The
one.
good news, it was 148 steps. And they were all safely made. I encountered the problem, no
So
bother.
I love that. You've been so far this morning, you've been swatting up on Cape Verde and counting the steps between the hotel and talkSPORT. Brilliant. Now, coming up, we turn our attention to the back pages as Thomas Tuchel has called on a certain England forward to start playing to his potential. He's not the first to do that. That's next. classic. Absolute classic. Do you remember Cliff standing on the double-decker red bus?
Double-decker bus. I can remember it.
Oh, it's amazing how certain scenes in movies just stick in your mind, and that was one of them. Guess how old he is? It's his birthday today. Sir Cliff.
Guys, 80s Cliff.
Yeah, 85.
Wow, man.
Oh.
80. Do you know something? That's absolutely incredible because Paul Simon's going to wake up this morning and say, at least I'm not as old as Cliff. 85, Jeff.
Producer Ollie couldn't tell us any of his songs.
No.
Yeah.
I expect... Oh, that's poor. I bet Ed would have given us 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Ollie's normally not bad, Jeff. That's kind of disappointing.
I know, but I mean, the classics of those days, Bachelor Boy and the Next Time.
Remember with Hank Marvin?
Yeah, brilliant.
The Shadows.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, his success has been absolutely immense.
And while we're on the subject of casually testing each other this morning, had a vineyard.
Yeah.
In Portugal.
In Portugal. That's right. And also a very nice gaff in Barbados. So he's not done too badly for himself. I met Cliff Richard when he was just Cliff Richard, not Sir Cliff Richard. And I was like a, 20-year-old cub journalist and things. And oh my goodness, he was one of the most helpful people that you've ever...
Is that right?
Yeah, he was. It's a long time ago, but he was a joy, to a young, aspiring reporter just trying to start out in the game.
That's nice.
Could not have been more helpful. He was brilliant. By the way, Justin Hayward.
Don't tell me. Justin Hayward of... Oh, you're not allowed to tell me.
We've already said... Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, no, Justin. But also the absolute classic.
It's the Moody Blues.
Moody Blues. Moody Blues.
The Moody Blues.
He does that to me. The Moody Blues.
And that was
Nights in White Satin.
That was Nights in White Satin. That was my version of Go Now, which preceded
I got
Nights in White Satin.
I would have got
Justin Hayward's birthday as well today. He's a young whippersnapper.
82.
79.
Now that Nights in White Satin's a beautiful song.
A classic, an absolute classic. Look, we better move on. Let's take a look at the back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business.
Walked in here with a baffled look.
Page review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle selling clothes? Save in style with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big 3 networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
So the terrible thing, Sam, is that there are very few birthdays that Coisty and I don't remember because of our joint age.
Terrible, Sam.
When are your birthdays?
I've just had mine.
Yeah.
Late September, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not having any more, but it would have been, in March.
Okay. Apparently, when you get to a certain age, you can change your birthday.
Can you?
Yeah. So, if you've got a winter birthday and you want to have it in the summer, you can just make it up and say, a bit like the Queen used to. Or does the King do that as well? Because the Queen used to have 2 birthdays, didn't she?
Yeah, she's
the summer birthday.
I would have thought. I love that idea.
If the Queen is, you two are allowed to as well. Anyway,
I'm gonna have one in Portugal.
Hey, I've got a text I really like here, by the way. It's anonymous. He said, am I listening to the Music Facts station? There we are.
Yes.
We've got all the facts.
Got it covered.
Brilliant. So what are the back pages got covered then,
What's happening, Sam?
they're mainly dominated by Rashford, really. Tuchel saying that Rashford, it's his time to shine and that the forward has potential to be the best in the world. But he's got to push himself and prove himself, whether he starts or whether he comes off the bench. And it's not a question of talent, he's saying, but a question of if he can and if he will. Mixed opinions on this one. I think a few people are thinking, is it the right thing to come out and say that about your players? Will it affect them going into it? But for me, I think Tuchel's straight up. You know what you're going to get. You know what he expects. No messing about. At least you know where you stand.
100%. I'm with you. I think Marcus Rashford would have been living on a different planet if he wasn't aware that this was his opportunity and he has to grab it with both hands. I think he will know that. But I actually think it's a wee clever tactical move by Thomas Tuchel just to let him know publicly so that there's a bit more, if it's possible, a little bit more pressure on him to produce.
Yeah, I think that's dead right. I mean, he's sharp as a tack, and I think he uses press conferences and things to get his message, reinforce his message to the players. I think that's exactly what he's doing with Rashford. Make sure he's absolutely on his toes.
Do you think he'll crumble? Do you think he'll step up to the task, Rashford, or do you think he'll go the other way?
Well, against Latvia, look, Koisty and I could play and we should still win.
Look, I think it would be unforgivable for him not to give it everything he's got. I mean, I think he has to. I mean, the position he is in right now from where he was a year ago,
you've never thought, would you?
No.
He must be pinching himself. And if he does not do his level best, which he will do, to grab that opportunity with both hands, then it would be nothing short of madness, Sam.
Yeah, I think Tuchel will be good for Rashford, I think. The same as Flick. It seems that they both, no nonsense, straight up, very strict. I mean, it's only recently, isn't it, that Rashford got benched because he was a bit late for a meeting.
Yes.
And it seems that is the side of his career that holds him back, just that unorganised, a little bit flaky in organisation.
Where he is now, what an opportunity.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, and I would say in his defence, by the way, if Marcus Rashford's late for a meeting, it's a back page headline. If, somebody else is late for a meeting, not meant.
See, when I was playing for Team GB, if you were on time, you were late. And our coach, Danny, he used to put a chair by the door. And we used to take the mick saying, if you come in during the chair, he wasn't happy. He had a face like thunder. So I've always been on time. You're late. Got to arrive 2 minutes earlier. But anyway, for the sake of the country, let's hope that he certainly steps up.
Yes.
Right, elsewhere, cricket. Ian Botham accused England of arrogance over Ashes preparations. Ooh. So it looks like England will play a single 3-day warm-up versus the travelling England Lions before walking out for their first test in Perth in November. You both concerned, and are you both big into your cricket?
I love my cricket. I'm going to tell you right now, I listen to both. Both's worth a listen. Yeah. Of course he is. And it sounds as though very much he's backing what Graham Gooch said yesterday.
Yes, he is, yeah.
Because Graham Gooch said in I think it was a Telegraph yesterday, that he was really, really concerned about the preparations for this upcoming Ashes tour. And we'd Harmy on after it, talking about it, Sam. And Harmy said he understood where Graham was coming from, and obviously it's the same with both, by the sounds of things. But he thinks because they're playing that much in the modern day, that it's not that much of a problem. I would have to, I don't know, because it's not effectively my main sport, and I wouldn't have a really massive qualified opinion on it. But what I would say is, if you're getting two guys like Graham Gooch and Ian Botham coming out, then I would have to say,
sit up and listen.
Yeah, I'd be sitting up and listening.
But they're playing one day as in New Zealand, aren't they?
Yeah.
Surely, this is the Ashes. Surely you have to prioritise the proper game.
Yeah, I thought so.
Test match.
That's
the biggest series in world cricket over a one-day series.
That seems logical to me, I've got to say, Jeff. But time will tell you. Why would you warm up with a different format? I don't know. I mean, somebody would maybe give me an answer to that.
Is cricket a little bit different? Whereas like with footy or like a team sport and you're passing it to each other, it's very different. You need that connection.
Cricket
you need
is
that
a team
chemistry.
sport, Sam.
I know. I like cricket, but I'm not an avid fan of the original format. I like the 100 because it's quick, it's punchy. But is there an argument to be made to say, well, actually, because it's very technical, batting, it's very closed skill, it's not very dependent on your teammates, and even bowling as well. I understand there's the communication and chemistry, but you can get that off the field.
Different formats all entice different styles and forms of play, I would imagine. So the Test cricket is incomparable to a T20 or 100. So I would imagine you go out with a completely different mindset, I would have thought.
Yeah.
So it's more than being out there for.
I think so. Yeah.
The days.
I think so. I mean, as I say, somebody better qualify with cricket.
You need some good sessions to bat yourself. If you're a batter, to bat yourself into form.
Yeah.
You can't
do that
get off the plane.
You can do that in the nets.
No, you're going to get off a plane. You've got one, Mickey Mouse 3-day game.
No, I know.
And then you're up facing some of the best bowlers in the world.
The best news they've had is Pat Cummins looks as though he's out.
Yeah, absolutely.
For at least one.
Just on that, somebody said, you're forgetting England had no prep also for the Tour of India. Yeah, they lost the series, but who wins it? Well, there's the point. They lost the series. Sam, thank you very much.
I think it's 2011, is it? Last time they won.
Wow.
Down under,
Thanks, Sam. And that was a look at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business. This is disrespectful. Pete, come on, Pete. What's happened to that team in Sweden? That team in Sweden?
Pete.
You mean the champions elect
Pete.
Mjölby? We mentioned it yesterday, Pete. It's an international break. Of course, it affects Sweden as well. And consequently, no games this week. And they're 11 points clear. 4 games remaining. They're away in Gothenburg on Monday night.
They could win it without playing.
They could win it without playing because their nearest rivals play on the Sunday. So
I'm a wee bit concerned where Pete was yesterday, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, where were you, Pete?
Where were you, Pete?
Let us know. Yeah. Coming up, we asked the question, in the Premier League, does the Big Six that's so often mentioned, does it actually exist? We'll give you our thoughts next if you want to have your say on it. 03717 223344.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle selling clothes? Save in style with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big 3 networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
Boxing. It's a sport that makes multi-millionaires out of the world's best fighters, but it's not as flush with cash as you'd think. We all see how much the likes of Tyson Fury or Canelo Alvarez make every fight, but that's not the case for those just starting out, or those who aren't even at that level. For example, if you've just turned pro and don't have a promoter, you have to sell your own tickets, cover the cost of the venue yourself, and pay the tax man at the end of it. You might not even break even, but if you do, you're looking at 5 to 10 grand max. A mid-tier fighter might make more like 10 to 50 grand, but you still have to give up half of that in costs. So unless you're fighting for a world title, it's tough to make money. One potential way of doing it, though, is being a journeyman. Here's former European champion talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver explaining how that could work.
They want to fight every week, and they can be going in against the prospects, so they can demand good money, and they might be demanding like 5 grand, 10 grand for a 6-rounder or something because they're going in with a prospect. He gets through that, the journeyman gets through that fight, and he can fight again next week.
I mean, even so, it's not much, and you're getting punched in the face for a job. It's only really at the top level, i.e. fighting for titles, where you're earning up to 6 figures and can afford a diamond chain or that Ferrari. So boxing isn't a sport that allows you to retire at 40 and live a life of luxury. Much like a lot of other sports and jobs in general, it takes an awful lot of luck quite early in your career to really make it worth your while.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, and our good friends at Arnold Clark. Get £750 off any used electric car or home charger. Were you well behaved at sports days, Coisty?
I could not believe that. I mean, it's bad enough. It's bad enough watching some of the mums and some of the dads try to win the fathers and mothers race. Yeah. But Stockton kid. I mean, that should be a deal.
I mean, the shouting abuse at referee, we can't tolerate it. But I've now, come on. This is 40 primary schools they're talking about, and they're saying parents blocking kids in races, flinging themselves in front of the kids.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is. It can't be happening. That cannot. I mean, get Amelia back in here. That cannot be happening. Blocking kids at the school sports day.
Fake news. I think fake news.
It's great, that, isn't it?
By the way, Pete, we've been asking where Pete was yesterday.
Yes.
He has responded. Pete, we let you off. Okay, he said, sorry, I was on my way to work yesterday at 4:30 a.m. from London to Sussex.
Well,
so, okay,
we'll let you off, mate.
You're forgiven,
Good
Pete.
answer, Pete.
Yeah, we've told us. And since then, I've got another text in here as well. Ali and Jeff, the champagne on ice as we await for our Mjolby boys to lift the title next week. Absolutely.
It's brilliant, that, isn't it?
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm hoping we can get the Mjolby manager on afterwards.
Oh, we're going. That would be unbelievable. I mean, what I was going to say to you, I forgot, what was the population of the place again? So it was ridiculous.
It's just over 1,000.
It's incredible.
It is absolutely staggering. It is staggering.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it will be an absolutely wonderful, wonderful story. Yeah. And there are boys, as we know. Yeah. Now, the Premier League used to be dominated by the top four. And for the last 5 or so years, we've been led to believe that England's top division has a big six. But can we really call them that anymore?
I think the traditional big six, in terms of revenue, might be still the same.
5 English clubs have signed up to this breakaway European Super League. Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea and Tottenham. Man City are in discussions to do that as well.
Tottenham end the season 17th in the Premier League, but it's still a party here. Thank goodness for the Europa League.
Manchester United lead by 2-0. They don't cause anyone grief this season, but they're going to cause Aston Villa pain.
What creates the big six is the European money. The gap is hundreds of millions.
That was Karen Brady, the West Ham vice chairman, at the end. But I'm not sure there's ever a big four, but is there a big six? And I'm assuming, Coisty, we're talking big six: United, City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea. And what is that big six based on? Because it's certainly not based
it's money
on current standings, and it's not based on trophies.
It's based on money, surely. It has to be. That's the only thing it can be based on. I mean, we're getting suspected Tottenham haven't won a title since when? 1961, was it?
Yeah, well, the last time they won anything prior to last year was the League Cup in 2008.
Right, so who has it? Who's given?
And Arsenal haven't won the league since 2004.
Absolutely. And Liverpool have won it twice in 30 years.
Yeah.
So,
and if you look at trophies, you go far enough back, you'll find that, Nottingham Forest won 2 European Cups. Yeah. And in 14 years, they won 4 League Cups and reached 2 finals. Correct. So, on the basis of trophies...
The term has to be arrived at through finance. It has to be, surely. Is it? Well, my next question to you would be this, Jeff. Is there anybody, excuse me, is there anybody outside the top 6 with a greater turnover?
No.
Newcastle?
No, I mean, at the moment, financially, Manchester United have the highest valuation as a football club.
Yes.
Don't blame me, by the way, if you're not a United fan. That's Forbes come up with that.
Yes.
And Manchester City have the highest revenue. Deloitte came up with that. So no, but you would argue, wouldn't you, that as far as Newcastle are concerned, if they were able to show their true worth, you know, they'd probably blow the other 6 out of the water.
They absolutely would. No, the term Big Six, I don't like it. It's a kind of arrogant term, you know, and I'm not sure, to be quite honest, yet any supporters of clubs within the so-called Big Six go about telling everybody they're one of the Big Six. You know what I mean? It's a term that has absolutely no relevance to me at all, to tell you the gospel truth. The real stories for me in recent years are, well, last season would be Crystal Palace, the rise of Brighton and Bournemouth, Brentford. I think these are real major stories that we should be talking about more than the so-called Big Six.
But if we do talk about the so-called Big Six, and I emphasise so-called, and when we talk about revenue, and I mean, shouldn't we be looking at crowds as well?
Of course we should.
Yeah. In which case, Manchester United have the top average crowd, but who's got the second biggest crowd in the Premier League on average?
Well, that's a great question. Would it be Newcastle?
No, it's West Ham.
Is it?
West Ham have the second biggest average attendance, above Spurs or Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City. Man City have got a bigger average than Newcastle by precisely 58 fans. So, you know.
Well, here's a question for you then, right? Will Manchester City ever become as big a club as Manchester United or Real Madrid or Barcelona? What would they have to achieve to become a club of that stature?
Well, I guess they continue to have the highest revenue. And if they do continue in that respect, then they will be. I guess, obviously, they've got these 115 charges hanging over them, which may affect their future as well. But I was wondering, so what do you have to do to break into the so-called Big Six? And also
increase your revenue.
Increase your revenue, yeah. But what about if Manchester United or Spurs last season, what if they got relegated? Would they still be one of the Big Six? And if they weren't for a season, if they came back up, would they then be immediately reinstated to the Big Six club?
That's my point. That's exactly my point. In answer to your question, financially they probably would be, because it would take them a few years, probably in a lower league, to affect their revenue to such a degree, I would guess. So in answer to that question, if we're just saying it is mainly, if not totally revenue-based, this assumption that the top 6 are who they are, it would indicate to me that if they get relegated, as long as their finances weren't drastically affected, they would still have to be known as one of the top 6.
Yeah.
Which is, it seems to me, a kind of contradiction in terms. And also, I mean, Crystal Palace could go on and win another 2 or 3 cups in 2 or 3 years, which would be more than perhaps Spurs or whoever it may be, but I've absolutely no chance in my lifetime of getting anywhere near being called a top 6 club.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And, you know, of the Big Six, let's be brutally honest about it. There's at least a couple of them got no chance of winning the league. It shouldn't really be, you know, should it be the Big Six? If you're looking at teams who are going to win the league, it should be the big three, really, shouldn't it? You know,
you could maybe
4.
We could maybe throw
Chelsea.
Yeah. So,
but not Spurs, not Manchester United.
You and I are now in total agreement. The Big Six is now the Big 3.5. But it's a fact. It's a fact. We are. I'm not saying we're ruling the World Club champions out. Right, but I would suggest it would be a surprise, not of the Leicester magnitude, I have to say, if Chelsea won the league, but it would be a surprise. I think the vast majority of football fans would be of the opinion that the title this year will come between Liverpool, City or indeed Arsenal.
Do you think football fans of certain clubs are offended by the term the Big Six and the fact that they're not included? And I'm thinking like Newcastle, maybe Aston Villa as well.
I'm not sure they'd be offended, Jeff. I think they might be slightly annoyed. Not perhaps at their own team not being in the so-called Big Six, but perhaps of the arrogance of other teams claiming to be in the Big Six, if you know what I mean. I don't think they'd be devastated at not being in the Big Six, but I think they would be more annoyed at other teams claiming to be in the Big Six.
Here's a question.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
there?
you know, look, I hate the whole sort of terminology, Big Six.
Yeah, so do I.
And all that lot. But as we are persisting with this, what if Newcastle win the Champions League this season? Does that mean next season we've got a Big Seven?
Well, it should. It should, but it won't. It won't, because they'll probably have to win it for 2 or 3. Do you know something? It seems so very, very petty, because we are not effectively taking into account what you achieve on the pitch to become one of the so-called, if you like, arrogant Big Six. We're not taking that into account.
No.
Because there'll be no dramatic changes in the so-called Big Six, no matter what any other team wins in the foreseeable future. It'll be down to finance.
It just seems such a random cut-off point, doesn't it? Big Six. Why not Super 7? Oh, I mean, I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's pretty much nonsense.
But then, just to compound it, if you want to go for a Super 7, who's your 7th?
Oh, well, at the moment, Newcastle, I think,
right,
because of their financial backing, but also...
Would Aston Villa maybe have a wee bit upset about not getting included in the Super 7?
Just in terms of, over the last few, I think, financially, Newcastle in a better place. And also, last 3 seasons, 4th, 7th, 5th, Champions League, 2 out of the 3 seasons.
I take your point.
So I think it would be Newcastle. But look, if I was a fan of one of the, the not so big 14, I might be a little bit put out when the media keep referring to them as the Big Six.
No, I'm with you. I think, as I said, I'll reiterate what I said. I think football fans in the how would you describe it? Not small, but not big. And the medium-sized 14, I think it would annoy them a little bit. Yeah. I don't think their desire this season is greater to get into the Big Six than it is to win a trophy. That's the point I'm trying to make. I think they'll be a little bit upset, I think, perhaps about the arrogance of it. And there's a stigma and there's a little bit of an arrogance to it.
There definitely is. Liam, the United fan, said, Big Six is a terrible phrase made up by the FA, as the Big Six are the cash cows for the leagues and they don't want anyone else to win anything. But here's an anonymous text, and he's nailed it. He says, you, the media, dictate who the Big Six is or the Big Four are. It's your fault, Jeff. Hold my hands up.
You're not wrong.
It's all down to me.
Yeah.
So are the Big Six just a group of arrogant rich clubs? Is it complete nonsense, or is this term, unfortunately, here to stay? 03717 223344 is the number to call. Good morning to you. This is talkSPORT Breakfast, 6:50, Tuesday, October the 14th. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is with me, and so too is Sam Queck.
Good morning.
So, Sam, what are we talking this time?
We're going to do a little bit of darts and the story of Bo Greaves, who is at the tender age of 18. She emerged victorious from a 6-5 thriller against Luke Littler as she became the first woman to reach the final of the World Youth Championships. Of course, this is off the back of the day before that Littler won his Grand Prix win. But it's also good to know as well that the World Youth Championships, Littler won in 2023, age 16, so a little bit younger than Bo. But this is great, is it not, for the sport of darts, in terms of having men and women competing against each other, but also a nod to Luke Littler as well.
Absolutely.
Stay humble.
Yes.
Go back to where he was and put the spotlight on the youth championships.
I think you're right, Sam. I think the easiest thing for Luke Littler after his 6-1 triumph against Luke Humphreys, where I just to put his feet up and relax and just chill and bask in the glory of yet another victory. Excuse me, but he didn't. And he went along and played, and I think fair play. We would not be talking about this story Bo Greaves this morning. And so we should be if it hadn't been for Luke Littler going and playing in that.
That's the reality of it, isn't it? In terms of darts as sport, what Luke Littler has done for the sport. And Jeff, did you catch any of this? Do you know?
No, I didn't. I mean, I know about the story, but I mean, the big thing is it also begins to not explain, but one of the mysteries of the sporting world is why women have never been able to compete on a level playing field.
Yes.
In darts.
Yes.
You know, which is not a physical sport.
Yeah.
In darts with the men, and so Fallon Sherrock initially did to a degree, but by all accounts, this girl, she's the real deal. She could be around for a long time. Bo Greaves, she's sort of multiple women's world champion, and she's just been offered her tour card to play against the men week in and week out, but she's not absolutely certain she's going to take it, I think.
It's fascinating, that, isn't it?
Other options?
I don't know.
Whether she's ready for the spotlight, I think.
Other choices to make.
I think that's you've nailed it, Sam, because the last 2 years, though she was eligible, she hasn't played at the Ali Pali in the World Championships. She's chosen not to. I think maybe because 3 years ago she did play. She lost in the first round. I think she was whitewashed.
Yeah.
Probably didn't enjoy the experience, so she stepped away from that spotlight, to build her game. And oh my goodness, how she's done it. And by the way, decisive set yesterday, an 11 dart set.
That's fantastic.
From Bo Greaves. Absolutely amazing.
She's amazing. I mean, to paint a picture, she's 3-time WDF Women's World Champion. Yeah. She's a 2-time Women's World Match Play Champion and is on a current 58 match winning streak on the circuit. But then also, if she does accept the card, which she's due to for 26, 27, that would mean that she wouldn't be able to then play in those WDF Women's World Championship tournaments.
Right, okay.
So I think maybe that was another decision. But again, going back to the men versus women level playing field, I think you're right, Jeff. I think when it comes to darts, there's not much. Well, there's not really, is there? Maybe a height at most. But even then, you're going to get a mixed bag.
Yeah, I'd have thought so. I would have thought it's one of these sports which is fantastic. But it's a level playing field, total level playing field. I mean, it's not like a lot of sports we could name. Men would have a physical advantage, maybe in strength, whatever it may be, but certainly darts, you would think it is a completely and utterly level playing field.
She could go on and be a massive role model for young women, because there's a lot of money in darts now, so she could be a real inspiration.
Her average was 105.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
But like you say, it's huge, and I think maybe putting it off, I think women in sport, they do get a lot more grief than than men would coming into a new sport, especially as a newcomer. You're judged both on appearance and performance. Yeah. So I think good on Bo as well, because you can't shy away that these are some of the problems that women face in sport. Yeah. And I think it's brave of her to just hold off until she's ready, because ultimately, once she's there, that's it, she's off. And I think everyone's hoping that she will become, like you say, a new role model for women and also for the sport. I mean, that's what's amazing, isn't it? The youth as well.
Yeah, this could be the big darting clash for years to come. You know, Luke Littler against Bo Greaves. You talk about women in a sport like darts. Can you imagine how intimidating it must be to turn up an event where there are 63 men and you, or 127 men and you?
Yes.
Yeah, it must be really difficult.
And I was going to say, I think you made a very valid point there. I mean, we played sport and we're lucky enough to play sport at a top level, but there was some venues you'd go like that. Wow. Didn't matter whether it was Hampden or whatever, top venue. And you mentioned the Alley Park, the atmosphere. We sit and go like that. I love it. Coming up to Christmas, I love watching the darts, man. It's brilliant because you can get right into the atmosphere. But I'm thinking to myself, if you're a youngster and you've got any nerves at all and you're playing in front of that, that's a completely different level of atmosphere for the darts.
Yeah. It is, isn't it? Because, like, I suppose it's a closed skill, you're shaking, the noise, the energy. But no, I think it's a really, really exciting time. I think it takes me back to my sixth form days. I went to an all-boys, a mix. It was an all-boys school, mixed sixth form. That's not the reason why I went, by the way.
An all-boys school.
I was fully focused on my on my sport and my...
It was 84 miles for your house, but you just fancied it.
Fancied it and them. No, it takes me back to my days because I played in the lads' hockey team. And I'm one of the lads. I had confidence. I was playing, but ultimately it didn't matter. I was playing for England seniors at the time, but physically the boys were faster. They were stronger. And I remember I was so nervous, purely like you say, walking in to all the lads, and I had my own changing room. It was weird. It wasn't great. So seeing
that helped you.
Definitely, 100%.
Against
100%.
A greater physicality.
Yeah, because you can't go toe for toe. You can't go pace for pace.
What you do, yeah.
You've just got to know your next pass even quicker.
Yeah.
Even in for 50-50. There was one time this lad, he won the ball off me and he started sprinting away, and I thought, I'm never going to catch him up. So I clipped, I can talk about it now, I clipped him and he went, he went absolutely slammed it to the floor, and he squared up to me. But I played that. So yeah, that was.
I bet you're, by the sounds of this, she's the sort of mum who'll be blocking kids at school sports days.
You heard that story this morning?
No, what?
Amelia came on with the news, right, and said that some parents have been banned from going to sports days.
40 primary schools.
40?
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Because of incidents of parents blocking rival kids off during races.
What, as in from the start? Like holding them back?
Holding them back, throwing them in front of
so
of
Jeff
the runners.
and I are on to you. We're on to you.
I'm not. I'm not there at sports days yet. I'll let you know when we are.
Hey, Sam, thank you very much indeed. Still to come on talkSPORT Breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Download the new improved app to easily manage your accounts and quotes.
Just after 7 o'clock, England are in Latvia. So too is Craig Hope. We'll be talking to him very shortly indeed. We'll look back on a disappointing night for Wales. We will hear from the Northern Ireland manager, Michael O'Neill, who's frustrated and disappointed, but ultimately, I think, probably very proud of his side. And we'll be examining the rise of League One Stevenage. And that was a look ahead to the next hour with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Get free next day track delivery. Head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
Tyson Fury, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. Just hearing these names makes you think money and the hundreds of millions of dollars, pounds or Saudi riyals in boxing. But that's at the top. At the bottom, it isn't quite the same. Even for those on the rise, there's not an awful lot of cash in the boxing world. And if you're just starting out, well, it can be a very costly exercise indeed. But don't take my word for it. Here's the former European champion, talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, you effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against a real prospect, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guarantee. We've been asking about whether the Big Six actually exists this morning. The phone lines have lit up. 03717223344 to have your say. Stuart, who's a Bournemouth fan, said nothing better than taking points off all of them. Long live the Big Six. Tell you what's also been contentious. We were talking about Beau Greaves and Luke Littler.
Oh, God.
Patrick from Stockport. No, we'll start with this. Patrick from Stockport. Come on, guys. Darts is not a sport. It's a pub parlour game. You don't have to change your shoes to play it. Stop justifying it as a sport. And Adam in Oldfield says, for me, a sport requires you to be physically fit. Things like darts and snooker are games of skill. They're good, but not a sport. Who says I'm a sportsman? And I put away 10 pints and 20 Bensons while doing it. Well, on the basis of that, Adam, golf, golf not a sport.
Yeah.
Is it not? Because you don't need to be physically fit in that respect to be a golfer. Bowls, not a sport. I mean, where'd you stop? You know, I'm not having that. For me, darts is a sport. What do you think, Coisty?
Well, you've put me under serious pressure. I'm just going to think, I mean, it'd be absolutely... I can just imagine Jockey Wilson. Jockey would think it would be absolutely preposterous that he would not be called a sportsman after some of the things that he won. And he gave us so much enjoyment and talent over the years. Who can ever forget Jockey falling out with everybody? Whether it was Eric Bristow, John Lowe, Cliff Lazarenko, Bobby George, wee Jockey fell out with them all. Brilliant.
Yeah. Do you have to change your shoes to classify it as a sport?
No, but I tell you what I did do one Thursday night. We managed to get my mate up for, he was up for England, right? And he was up doing a bit of work. He was a salesman. And we took him to the 10-pin bowling. And we managed to get him into the pub after it with the 10-pin bowling shoes on.
Oh, right.
It was some achievement. Because what you do is, when we were playing 10-pin bowling, when we were coming near the end of the game, there's 4 of us, and one of us would disappear, put their shoes back on, and then by the time... the time he'd thrown his last 10-pin bolt down, we'd all changed our shoes, and he completely forgot about his shoes. So we ended up in the pub, and he's got his shoes like Coco the Clown on. Anyway, that was another story.
So, yeah, well, look, Patrick, on the basis of that then, because you've got to change your shoes, 10-pin bowling is a sport, regardless of your physique. But crown green bowling is not a sport.
Correct. Oh, well, I think you've got to have a certain shoe for crown bowling, have you not? You certainly got...
It's probably only not to damage the surface.
Yeah, particularly lawn bowls. I mean...
Yeah.
You wouldn't get away with wearing your stilettos for a game of lawn bowls. You wouldn't get away with that, Jeff.
Anyway, you know what, guys? Does it matter whether it's a sport? It's blooming brilliant.
And it's
so does it matter?
It's given us some entertainment.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Talking of entertainment brings us to England in Latvia tonight. Yeah, okay, I know, dodgy link. It's live on talkSPORT. Thomas Tuchel's men, they'll guarantee a first-place finish with victory, who enter this one on a miserable run. But they're used to miserable runs because they're 137th in the world. Speaking to talkSPORT, Thomas Tuchel says he still needs 100% from his team. No, he doesn't really. Heading into tonight.
We want to push for 90 minutes when we wear the shirt, and we want to make our fans proud, and we want to make ourselves happy when we're in the dressing room. We want to sweat, be tired. No one has to be ashamed of being tired. It's a good thing, and we don't want to get away with the easiest effort or with half the effort. We want to put all the effort in and create then a feeling that it's nice to work as a team and to work hard and to run. And at the moment we are a running team, and I think this is it's infectious and creates a good energy, and the demands are high and the team is following, so keep on going.
Just before we move on to England, it's really got people going. Ross says the fact that you think you don't need to be physically fit to play golf shows you're clueless, Jeff. I give to you Craig Stadler, Ross. All right, stick that where the sun don't shine, pal.
The walrus.
Yeah.
Remember, who can forget the walrus?
Yeah, anyway.
And then the follow-on question, right? I mean, I'm taking it to an extreme here now. Is the legendary, the man that gave us, you and I, our most entertaining minutes ever on this programme, surely Gary Kasparov, and he's got to come into it. Is he a sportsman?
You're taking this into unknown territory here, Coisty. I think if you watch the Ryder Cup, look, is Bob McIntyre based in the States? Because he can't hear us. Because he's not exactly, the best physical specimen. No. You wouldn't say, wow, there is a physically fit sportsman, would you?
Big Monty.
But he's brilliant.
Big Monty was another
Colin
one.
Montgomery.
Fantastic.
Absolutely
fantastic.
Million examples.
Yeah.
Right, we hope that the England team are going to be a bit fitter than Monty and Craig Stadler this evening in Latvia, even though they may not actually need to be at their best. Joining us more on this is the Daily Mail's chief football reporter, Craig Hope. Morning, Craig.
Morning, Craig.
Morning, guys.
So, look, Thomas Tuchel says his team still need to give 100% tonight. And as a manager, of course, he would require that from his side. But let's be brutally honest. Is there anything to be learned for Tuchel from this game tonight?
Absolutely, yeah, Jeff. I listened to you there, and I understand why you do it down to a degree, and you look at England needing this victory against Latvia to go through to the World Cup, and you might question, do they actually need to give 100%? Well, yeah, they do, because Tuchel's created this environment now where every minute does matter, and while it might not be about in isolation getting the result against Latvia, as you quite rightly assumed, Jeff, they can probably go in at 75-80% and get the victory they need to go to the finals in North America. It's about more than that, because Thomas Tuchel quite cleverly and all of a sudden has created this climate of fear around selection, and I mean that in the best way, fear in a motivating way, a fear which brings out the best in his players. They know that what they do off the pitch and on the pitch over what are only 5 or 6 games before the World Cup is going to determine whether they're in that squad or not. And I like what he's doing. And we spoke to Jordan Pickford yesterday, and he talked a lot about Team England. Now, Team England was a thing under Gareth Southgate. This isn't something new. But Gareth Southgate's Team England was more about inclusion. Thomas Tuchel's could be about exclusion. And I hope you get what I mean by that. It's the players he's left out who have created this sense of needing to perform, of needing to be a good citizen on the team, on the training pitch, around the team hotel. So while you say it doesn't matter, I would flip that and I would say every minute matters right now.
I see where you're coming from, Craig, and I think probably with England more than anybody, because we've been sitting for the last couple of days discussing Scotland's performances, right, in the last couple of games, and with the greatest respect, I'm completely over it because it's all about points for us. But it's a completely different scenario with England. We saw it because England's record in qualification is just about a given. They qualify for everything, and you can argue so they should. So it does come down to the level of performance and what you are actually watching, because 99 times out of 100 in qualifiers, you're going to win. So I think there is maybe not an added pressure, but there is an extreme pressure on England players to perform. You just have to look at that. Was it the Albania game where they won quite confidently? The result and the performance wasn't up to scratch. And then all of us saying, well, they better do better over in Serbia, and they did. So I think, rightly or wrongly, but I think it's factually correct, I think there's probably slightly more pressure on England performances than they are certainly some of the other countries.
Yeah, and look at the most informative thing of all of this, Ali, was the first half hour against Wales on Thursday night when, given it was a friendly and they've got a qualifier 4 days later, the players might have been forgiven for being sort of half-cooked, having a different mentality. That half hour against Wales was the most intense and the most inventive I've seen England play for a long time, certainly under Thomas Tuchel. And that goes back to the point I made. When you leave out a player like Jude Bellingham, like Phil Foden, like Jack Grealish, and those with possession of the jersey, look at that. They know they've got to perform to stay there. And I like what Tuchel has created. He's been criticised for leaving out Bellingham, and there's this whole debate around whether he'll come back or not. But what it's done is it's inspired Morgan Rogers. It's inspired Elliot Anderson. And they aren't playing with the belief and the assumption now that the big boys will return as soon as they're fit or back in form. No. If you're in possession, it's yours to keep. And I like that, and you can see it in performances.
Yeah, and I completely get that, Craig, and I completely get Thomas Tuchel talking about Team England and the team ethos and things like that. But how difficult is that going to be to maintain? If Bellingham comes back, or Foden, or Alexander-Arnold, or Grealish, Livramento, Madueke, Reece James, Ollie Watkins, Adam Wharton, how difficult is it going to be to maintain that appearance of a group which is bonded together as a team?
It goes back to what I said before, Jeff. What Gareth Southgate have done, I love Gareth, by the way. I thought he was genius, the way he made the players feel good and support us about wearing the badge and being part of that Team England. Gareth Southgate would have brought those players back in and tried to include them. Thomas Tuchel's method of dealing with this might just be to leave them out. He doesn't care. He's only here until after the World Cup, the contract he has signed. He knows that he's got to create a team. Every time we sit down with him, every time we speak to him, he talks about creating a team. That does not mean the best 11 players. So his solution to all of that, Jeff, might be just not to bring them back into the squad, to keep this group he's got. And I think he wants to do that. It's why he placed such great stock on the performance against Wales. When we were out in Serbia, he was so relieved and encouraged by what he'd seen in the camp. Happy campers, good trainers, good teammates as well. If he sees that again during this camp, he might just keep it for November, and then again going into March. It'll be harder for those on the outside to get back in than it would have been previously.
Well, wow, Craig, that's a brave call, because it's easy to do when you're winning, but it's not so easy to do if you're not winning, when you come up against the big powers.
Do you know what I think, boys? I think that the secret, and if Thomas Tuchel can get this, then fair play to him. I think the secret is getting the balance, right? And by that I mean, of course, players who are in possession of the jersey, I think deserve to keep it. But at the same time, there'll be a balance of great players who can do things differently, and also managers do have players and coaches do have players who they know they can rely on, that might be out with an injury and they accept it, but if it came to a big match, I'm not saying they're always going to start, but the manager knows he can hang his hat on them. So I think, Craig, the secret, and if he can get it, is the balance between the two.
Yeah, we were sat last night amongst ourselves, actually, after the press conference, debating whether Jude Bellingham will start the opening game at the World Cup next summer. And it seems unthinkable that we're even having that discussion and that debate. But that shows you what Thomas Tuchel has created. And my answer to the question was, as we were sat there, I honestly think there's a part of Tuchel doesn't want to start Jude Bellingham. He's come in and there is something quite clearly, judging by his comments and extension, his selections, that he doesn't like about Jude Bellingham. I think Thomas Tuchel will want this to work. He will want them to go and win well tonight. He will want them to be good teammates and again next month. And that means Jude Bellingham, yes, as you say, Ali, it'd be a hell of a call actually leaving him out of the squad, given the moments he can produce. But does that mean he's a starter? Yeah. In conclusion, my answer to the debate we had last night was no. I don't think he will start the opening game of the World Cup next year, providing those who are there at the moment are still in form and fit.
Craig, it's an interesting discussion. Yeah. It really is. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Jamie. Enjoy the game.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Daily Mail's chief football reporter, Craig Hope there. We're really late, but I've just got to say, Tim in Guildford said, darts is a pastime. You have to cart a trolley 7,000 yards round a golf course. Now, Tim, if you were a sportsman, mate, you'd be carrying your clubs. You wouldn't be carting a trolley 7,000 yards around a golf course. I don't care whether darts is a sport or not. I love it. Okay.
Me too.
Yeah. Coming up, we hear from an Everton fan who believes they deserve to be in the so-called Big Six. That's next. Good morning, 7:22. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Text to somebody we haven't mentioned. He's dead right. When we mention missing important England players, why does nobody mention Cole Palmer? And it's true, he's been left out of the discussion. Is darts a sport? Sarah, if you're competing against someone, then it is a sport. And James, similar theory. If you play in a tournament or a competition that ranks its participants, it's a sporting event for me. And the comparison that I think was Tim and Guilford was making about golf. So Lorraine has said here, Miguel Angel Jimenez used to smoke cigars during his rounds of golf. He was a great character and a great sportsman.
And one of the boys just cheekily asked me, is fishing a sport? And I would suggest, of course it is, because if you look at some of the weight I'm lifting with those fish that I catch, it's a bit of weightlifting practice.
Yeah. Josh says, talking of specimens of athletes, John Daly.
John Daly.
You know, another golfer who's not exactly the most
wild
physical.
That was his nickname, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wild
and Sam, the Arsenal fan, says, Raheem Cornwall from Antigua weighs 140 kilograms. He made one of the best catches in the slips ever and has played Test cricket for the West Indies. Is he not a sportsman? And I'm going to finish this just with Peter from Liverpool. Morning, Ali and Jeff. Is curling only half a sport because you only have to change one shoe? You have to put a slippy one on one foot. Brilliant. Thanks, Peter. It's a great debate. And thanks to everyone who sent in so many texts. We are swamped with them this morning, so apologies if we haven't read yours out. Let's take a quick call on what qualifies as a big six side. Steve is an Everton fan. Morning, Steve.
Good morning, Steve.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali.
So, Steve, come on then. Make the case for Everton.
Honestly, it's just like, look at the trophies we've won, or like recent times we haven't been as successful. Fair enough. But of Tottenham, we've won 3 trophies.
Stevie, mate, we're losing you here, mate. But we get the idea behind it.
Well, he's got a point, hasn't he?
Yeah, of course. And that's what we said earlier. It's really not just down to the trophies that you've won. Otherwise, nowadays, everyone would talk about Forest as a big club.
They've certainly won a title in a European.
Yeah.
You know, I think it makes a good point.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily having Everton as part of the big six, but... Yeah. Oh, look! If in years to come there's a Super 7 or an exemplary 8, then maybe Everton might be one of them. You know, especially with the new stadium. Who knows? I'm relieved to say that Sam's back with us. Hi, Sam.
Yeah, I'll move you on swiftly there, fellas. We're going to have a look.
The trouble you've caused with these darts, right? See if you had come in and brought that darts up, we'd have a quiet morning, that man and I.
It is a sport, though, isn't it?
Yes.
Gets your heart rate up. Requires skill and precision. There you go. That's my argument.
And also, it's competitive. It's player A v player B.
Yeah, but you can say that about like competitive food competitions, can't you? Do you know what I mean? Like hot dog eating competitions compared to A against B.
It's hot dog eating.
I'll bring Gary Casper off.
Cheese rolling.
Where did you draw the line?
I mean, a bit of energy, extended Queen to Bishop 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to choose a mature cheddar today.
Drafts.
Come on, what were you going to talk about?
Okay, we're going to talk about Cape Verde after becoming the second smallest nation to reach the World Cup after the Islanders beat Eswatini 3-0 at home. They secured top spot in their qualifying group and a place at the 2026 World Cup ahead of continental heavyweights Cameroon. And this is their player, Pico Lopez, after the game.
It means everything to me. Since I was a little boy, and I know it's the same for the guys in the dressing room, since we were all little kids playing football, we dreamed of playing football at the highest stage, and there's no bigger stage than the World Cup. So to do this, to be the first Cape Verdean team here, to lift all the people, the nation, to put them on that stage, there's no better feeling than that.
That's astonishing, because the Cape Verde accent is identical to the Dublin accent.
I was going to say, a very authentic Cape Verdean accent.
I thought it was more Cork.
Or what?
Cork.
Oh, might have been.
Oh.
It might have been.
It
has an R in it.
You think I said something else?
Yeah, I did.
It's back to that boys' school again, isn't it?
Oh, I've never had that accent. Right.
What's
Also,
this morning?
great day for him as well. He flew home straight away because he was expecting his first child. So congratulations to him.
Wow.
But I guess there's two sides to this, isn't there? I mean, first of all, you can say it's great to get a big range of teams from across the world competing into the World Cup, or are we thinking, right, okay, these are ranked 70th in the world now, and is the World Cup just becoming a little bit watered down, less competitive games, more one-sided games?
Well,
like you're not going to watch for the first week because it's just going to be not a strong schedule.
It is now. I mean, you could look, what's South America? Is that 5 out of 10 qualify?
There we go.
You know what? You can argue
6 from South America, and then Africa has gone from 5 to 9.
Right, yeah. You know, so it's getting, what I'm trying to say, it's getting harder for us, though it should be getting easier. But no.
There are going to be more mismatches, aren't there?
Of course, yeah. I think that's a fact.
So are you a fan of the 48-team World Cup, or do you want it back to 32? Because there's even conversations for making it bigger again, isn't it?
No, I just think it's going mad. It's going crazy, and it's money, isn't it? Again, everything's money, sadly. I'm quite happy with the tournament the way it is. As Sam, I said to Jeff yesterday, the Euros, my first Euros, there was 8 teams in it, 2 groups of 4. You know what I mean?
But having said that, you know, what it does do is, and I'm not having a go,
I know.
it gives Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and that a chance to go to the biggest tournament in world football. So in that respect, it's good.
Yeah, and it reaches across the world, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But as an England fan, you know, everyone's already moaning now about the qualifiers and how poor standard it is, and it's a whitewash when it comes to like the top 15 ranked teams, especially in the world.
Yeah.
But we thought, okay, that's qualifying, so you do accept it. But when you go into a World Cup, and you know, there's been people already on social media writing their own first Saturday of the World Cup schedules, and they've got things like Cape Verde versus Bolivia, Iran versus Scotland, Uzbekistan against Burkina Faso.
I think it's
going to be wild. It's going to be great.
I think it's only fair that everybody is given the equal opportunity to qualify.
Yeah.
But whether there's too many teams or not, I would suggest there might be.
Who would your money be on, Iran against Scotland?
Well, by the way, we didn't do too well against them. The last time we played them, was it 7-8?
And look, for every Cape Verde or for every Faroe Islands, there's a Gibraltar. You know, I mean, it took for me too many qualifying games as well.
But I would suggest, I know, just about to contradict myself here, I would suggest Gibraltar. I've got absolutely no chance of qualification, and will never have any chance of qualification because of where they are. Now, a year ago, maybe 6 months ago, I might have said the same about the Faroe Islands, but they've had a couple of remarkable results. But generally speaking, your San Marinos, your Liechtensteins, your Gibraltars have got absolutely no chance whatsoever of qualifying for the last stages of the World Cup. However, they do deserve an equal opportunity to qualify, which they won't do.
Pre-qualifying, mate. I think pre-qualifying.
San Marino versus Gibraltar.
Yeah, that sort of thing. I'm going to take you to task, Coisty. I thought you were my mate.
What have I done now?
Oh, Andy in Middlesbrough says, Jeff, please can you give Ali some of your Middlesbrough ranters? Him and Big Al in Brazil were talking about Yarm last week, and he referenced Middlesbrough and Stockton-on-Tees as Chemical City. Did you? Are you guilty as charged? Have you ever been to Yarm?
Yarm's beautiful.
Yarm? Exactly.
That was my point.
Yarm.
My point
is within spitting distance of Middlesbrough.
Yeah, but my point was Yarm was kind of slightly out of sync with its surroundings. That was my point. Now the good people of Teesside, Cleveland, is it Cleveland and Teesside?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, I got that right, Jeff. The good people, and I would never, ever want to upset them because I love the good people in the North-East. But you have to accept Yarm is it not kind of slightly out of sync with its surroundings? No.
No. Well, maybe to an element, but every single city surely has that heartland that may not necessarily be so attractive. But if you look around it, it's not just Yarm, it's the Cleveland Hills, it's the River Tees, it's the historic Transporter Bridge, but built by the same company, by the way, who built Sydney Harbour Bridge, Dorman Long, they're a Middlesbrough company. How about that? Getting me on a rant here.
Now, I have to say, if you were producing Sydney Harbour Bridge in the middle of Hartlepool at the docks down there, that'd be worth a visit.
Yeah, Transporter Bridge is worth a visit. I think there are only 2 working in the world. You might correct me on that, but I'm pretty sure there are only 2 in the world. Anyway, Sam, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Sam.
You're welcome.
Coming up, we turn our attention back to Wales and their attempts to qualify for the World Cup.
Amen Corner, perhaps the most feared run of holes in golf. Each year it claims the tournament hopes of many, with balls hitting bunkers and water traps aplenty. But why is it so fearsome, and where did it get its name? Just the thoughts of holes 11, 12 and 13 at Augusta National gives the likes of Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth the shivers. McIlroy hit 3 over and Spieth hit 4 over in their final rounds to blow their hopes of a green jacket in 2011 and 2016 respectively. But did you know Amen Corner's name is inspired by a jazz song from 1933? American sports writer Herbert Warren Wint, on the left here, wrote about it in 1958, referencing the song shouted in that Amen Corner when describing the run. Hole 11 is a par 4 over 520 yards with a green guarded by a pond and bunkers to the front edge. 12, perhaps golf's most famous hole, is a par 3 over just 155 yards. The green's guarded by Rays Creek at the front, more bunkers and azalea bushes ready to punish the smallest error. Then there's the 13th that teases the hook shot over the trees. It's a dogleg par 5 over 545 yards that's inviting for big hitters who want to reach the green in 2. If you want to win the Masters, you have to keep your score down around Amen Corner. So who'll be the next to fall victim to golf's most famous and most daunting challenge?
Good morning, 7:36. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist. And our friends at Arnold Clark get £750 off any used electric car or home charger. Just when you think the show can't get any dafter, Warren contributes. Warren's from Bolton. He said, morning. He said, did I hear correctly? Cape Verde reached the World Cup finals by beating Claire Sweeney. They beat Eswatini to get there. Eswatini, you got any idea where that is?
Eswatini, that's it's not far away from Cape Verde.
I thought you've impressed me so much with your geographical knowledge.
I thought that was east coast of Africa.
Yeah, it's part of Swaziland, we would know it as in the past. That is now, apparently, Eswatini.
Formerly Swaziland?
Yeah.
which would be next to...
Oh, no, let's not go there.
I'm telling you, right now, I'm running about Mozambique, South Africa, Botswana.
Probably. I'm going to take your word.
I could have said anything there.
So Wales' hopes of qualifying automatically for the World Cup were, to all intents and purposes, ended by the home defeat against Belgium last night, but they will still almost certainly play in the playoffs. In the first meeting between the two sides, of course, Belgium got the better of Wales 4-3. After the game last night, Harry Wilson spoke on how disappointing it was not to get over the line, considering the number of goals they scored.
Scoring five goals over 2 games against Belgium and not getting a point, I think, well, in class ourselves unlucky, or it shows that if we get it right, what a really good team we are, or if we're not quite there, what a good team they are. So I think they're the fine margins when you're playing against these top teams. You have to be on it from minute 1 to minute 90, and I think out there we probably went from minute 1, but in the second half really good, and then tonight probably good from the start, and then in spells not great. So yeah, I think it's a massive learning curve the last 2 games against the top teams that you need to be on it.
Look, disappointing in the end for Wales, and I think expectations have been built up so high by the brilliant run that they had when Craig Bellamy first took over the side. Look, let's get more on this now by bringing in Welsh commentator Bryn Law. Morning, Bryn.
Good morning, Bryn.
Jeff, how are you? Ali, hi there.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Hey, I tell you what, Bryn, Wales are defending like Wrexham these days. Oh, sorry, mate.
Sorry, remind me, where's your team again? don't get it anymore.
Yeah.
Used to be rivals, didn't we?
Yeah, we go back a long way to Bryn and I. So look, I mean, what do you make of what's happened to Wales in these qualifying games now? Is Craig too gung-ho?
Well, I think there's too many goals getting conceded. I agree with what Harry said. It is great that you've played Belgium twice and scored 5 goals against them. But the bit he doesn't mention is you've conceded 8 in the process. And that's obviously the problem. I mean, the game against England at Wembley, 3 inside 20 minutes. And then, if we've been realistic, if we've been honest, it could have been a number more. And if Doku could shoot, it would have been a number more last night as well, because they just came forward in swarms on occasions. And Wales looked kind of overrun at times. And there was a real sense that they were going to score goals. I mean, it was frustrating the manner of which 2 of the 4 goals were scored. Because if you boot the ball at somebody from close range and it hits them on the arm or the hand, then, okay. First one I didn't think was a penalty, second one probably was, but that was a frustrating way to concede goals. But they've got to find a way to be more defensively disciplined. The bedrock of success when this all flipped, when Chris Coleman took Wales to the Euros, that first qualification since '58, the bedrock for that was a solid defence. I think it was 7 of the qualification games Wales kept a clean sheet. So they had a guy in the team who could score a goal in those circumstances. But I think the smaller nations have just got to be really well organised. North Macedonia did it against Belgium last Friday, 0-0 away. That's the kind of result that Wales need to be able to get. And at the moment, you can't really see it.
I see what though, Bryn. I mean, clearly it was a disappointing result, and I think you're well within your rights. We know Belgium scored so many 4 goals and they created good chances. I get that. But I think you're well within your rights for maybe a separate discussion on that penalty. I think the first penalty is a joke, to tell you the truth. And I was listening to Craig after it. I thought he spoke very well about it. But even after the disappointment, mate, still everything to play for.
Well, there is. I mean, the frustration last night was the North Macedonia draw had put it right back in Wales' hands. It was there to be won, the group. They've got the Nations League kind of the fact that they won the Nations League group means that playoff place is pretty much nailed on, but there's still a major advantage to finishing second in the group, which is still a strong possibility, away to Liechtenstein in the next game, which surely goes down as a win. And I'm not given to sort of mad bouts of optimism, but I'll put that one down. And then it all comes down to the final game against North Macedonia at home. So you've got to feel that there are opportunities in there still for Wales. And a playoff place at the start of the campaign, I think anybody would have taken a second place finish. Anybody would have taken that at the start. If they can get that, the pot 1 playoff seeding, that would be great. It'd be much more difficult if it's pot 2.
Yeah. Is the view in Wales of Craig Bellamy still universally popular, Bryn?
Well, yeah. I mean, he came in and the run from his arrival was fantastic. Won the Nations League group, got promoted back to the top tier again. I mean, there's clearly still a lot of work to do because the qualification campaign for World Cup, it's not been outstanding. There haven't been any great performances yet. There've been for half an hour in Belgium. In the second half, I was out in Brussels. Wales were magnificent. It's some of the best football I've seen Wales play, and they played with a swagger. And they got back to 3-3 from 3-0 down. But then the key bit is, as Harry Wilson intimated in that little interview clip, they switched off again right at the end. And Belgium had chance after chance after chance, even in the last 5 minutes or so, and got the key goal. So all that hard work in getting back into the game was undone by that. And so those are the bits. International football is different. There are still players in the team learning that. It's still a young team. Ben Davies is, by a distance, the most experienced international in the group. Tough night for him last night. I felt quite sorry for him on his 100th cap, which was a magnificent achievement. And he's been such a brilliant player for Wales, but it was a hard night for him last night. We're always talking about transition in Welsh football. But there is a kind of an element of a transitional stage about this. But they've got to get up to speed quick because if they want to qualify for a World Cup, and everybody, of course, wants to do that again, having done it for the first time in ages in Qatar, you then want to go and do better at the World Cup than they did in Qatar. So there's an awful lot that they want to aim for, that they have as an ambition, but there's still, I think that it looks to me like he's still got to find a system that's going to work for this group, and I think that's the transitional stage we're at.
Bryn, brilliant. Hope you're enjoying the Championship, mate.
Oh, you're loving it.
Okay.
It's great. You should give it a try.
Well, yeah, one day in about 50 years, we probably will. Thanks, Bryn.
All the best, Bryn. Thank you.
Ta-ra.
The laughter police are about. Ian, you've lost your bet. He said, it's called the World Cup, not the best team in the world. Why are you finding it funny? I think it's time for you to go. I bet this doesn't get mentioned. Unhappy listener, Ian. Ian, don't be such a blooming misery, for goodness sake. Here's a completely contrasting view. Adam, when pointless answers start qualifying for the World Cup, you know the game's gone crazy. Adam, don't you dare laugh, because Ian and the laughter police, they'll be on your back, mate. Big thanks to the Welsh football commentator, Bryn Law there. Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Doing what matters for the trade. Find your local branch at travisperkins.co.uk.
We'll be bringing you some brilliant clips from the England legend Paul Gascoigne's interview on White and Jordan yesterday. We'll play out a whole load of great lines and get Coisty's reaction. And that was a look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Bricks on bricks on bricks. Over 40 million available to order with delivery to site. That's one less thing to worry about.
Good morning, very nearly 7:50. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. We've been talking about the Big Six. Let's take a very quick call. James is a Spurs fan, wants to have his say. Morning, James.
Good morning, James.
Good morning, gents. How you doing?
Very well, thanks.
Mate.
What are you thinking, mate?
Excellent. Well, just listening to you guys on the road as I do every morning. Great show as usual. And we're talking about the Big Six, what makes the Big Six. Now, obviously, revenue generated has something to do with that. But the revenue generated, I still think, correlates to where you've been finishing each season. If you go back over the past 20 seasons in the Premier League, the reason it's called the Big Six is because those top six that you call out, they have finished consistently in the top six of the Premier League over the last 20, 25 seasons. And that goes in order of the most being Manchester United 26 times, Arsenal 21 times, Chelsea 21 times, City 16 times, Liverpool 18 times, and Spurs 15 times.
Right, so I take your point, James, absolutely. But are you accepting by that logic then, if things don't go well for either or any of those sides in the next 10, 15 years, then one of them could drop out the top six, the Big Six?
Yes, I do. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because if they drop out of that top six, revenue's obviously going to be affected from European places and Champions performances and cup wins. It goes cap in hand, I think, with the revenue, obviously. If you're finishing in the top six, you're going to Europe, you're getting the TV rights money, you're getting your travelling money, you're getting your fans coming over from other countries to watch the game, then it correlates with the revenue and the sponsorship deals. But if you look consistently over the last 20 to 25 years, it has been those top six that we talk about. Now, obviously, it's not saying that Newcastle are not a massive club. Of course they are. Nottingham Forest are a massive club. Of course they are. But what have they done over the last 20-odd years consistently to finish around there? And that's why I think it's monitored as the Big Six. I don't think it's the Big Six as in fan base, but it's the Big Six as in where have they consistently produced for the last 20, 25 years. And
James, brilliant. Thank you for the point, mate. Really good call. Right, going to move on to the EFL. Great story now. Stevenage, what a start to the season they have made. They are top of League One at the moment after 10 games. And I'm delighted to say that joining us now to talk about their early promotion charge, he doesn't like that phrase, is the Stevenage manager, Alex Ravel. Morning to you, Alex.
Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, guys. Hope you're well.
We saw
we're
saw
good,
his
mate.
face when you mentioned promotion.
It was on the script here.
See it, mate.
You know, look,
no need for that, was there?
No,
absolutely not.
Well, I'll tell you what, Alex. Look, I know the club means a lot to you. You played there. Your second spell as manager, top of the table, games in hand. Come on, hand on heart. Did you expect that?
Probably not from last year. I think that, you know, we used last year as a real foundation for us to build, taking over from obviously Steve, who everybody knows did an unbelievable job here. But we had a really good summer, really good recruitment, and to be honest with you, wins breed confidence, right? Breed belief, and we started the season with a fantastic win away at Blackpool, and that was just a moment where I think the players just kind of looked at each other and thought, you know what, as a group we can really achieve something this year if we really believe in what we're doing, and they haven't stopped that. So we 25 points from 30 is a really great return for us, and it's now down to us just to keep that going, really.
Alex, amazing. I mean, it's doing fantastically well, and it's great to see, and I'm so pleased everybody's enjoying it. But I want to take you back, actually. I wasn't unaware of it, but I'd forgotten about it. Was it 2021 season when he actually finished bottom? And if it wasn't for Macclesfield's point deduction, it could have been oh so different. So everything in the garden hasn't always been rosy.
No, we've had some real tough times. I think that when you look back at that time, the situation we found ourselves in was not good enough for us as a football club, and that we ended up getting a reprieve, and we ended up staying in the Football League, and I think that year was all about just staying up. We recruited that summer, and we didn't know if we were going to be in the National League or in League Two, so they were tough days, and we've come a long way since then. The owner's been incredible in terms of how long he's been at the football club and backing this football club and us as staff. And we're a different club since then. We've learned from mistakes in terms of maybe that's player recruitment, how we run things. We've learned from those, because if you don't and learn from it, right? You can make the same mistakes again. And we've got brilliant people here throughout the whole club that were all here during that time. So we know how far we've come, and we don't take that for granted at all.
It's Phil's the owner, isn't it? Phil Wallace has been there a long old time. I don't know, don't want to put pressure on you, Alex, but I'm sure Phil's dream is to achieve something that's never happened before, and that is playing in the Championship. Does he bang on to you about it?
He reminded me yesterday that he's had one playoffs and lost in League One. So, obviously for him, it's a dream for him. He's been here a long, long time, and to see the club at the top, we know it's only 10 games, but to see that he's really proud of everybody here. But for us, I reminded him yesterday that we've got Lincoln on Saturday, which is a huge game for us. We just take it as it comes, every game, keep building, keep growing. And you never know, right? We used Wycombe last year in Leyton Orient. They were incredible last year, what they achieved. And we look at them as a club and see very similar, things in terms of our clubs compared to them. So we use them as our inspiration, absolutely. And we've got 9 ex-Premier League teams in this league now. So every game's a challenge, and we just have to keep believing in what we're doing, and dreams happen, right?
You better believe it does. I'm looking at it. I think you've got Lincoln are sitting 6. It's probably the game of the day in the league. Early kick-off, 12:30 at the weekend. And you're right to mention it. I had a quick look, Alex. I've got to say, whether it's Huddersfield, Cardiff, Bradford, Bolton, Luton. I mean, there's some big names in there. You could argue you're punching and long may it continue, mate.
Yeah, no, we are, without a doubt, in terms of size of club, in terms of fan base. Of course we are, but we're growing. You can't buy what we have in terms of spirit, in terms of togetherness, in terms of as a whole club believing in what we're trying to do. You can't buy that. That's impossible to buy. You have to create that, and that's been done by the players that we've recruited over the past 3 years. And beliefs growing. Obviously, we played Luton at the last weekend, and for the first time in a long time, our ground was, a sellout, which might not mean a lot to people on the outside, but for us, it just shows that we're growing, and that's all we can try and do is bring people to our club and watch us and keep winning. And as a manager, that's really proud that we're achieving that at the moment.
Yeah, but you must have loved that win over Luton. I mean, local rivals, in the Premier League not so long ago. How's Dan Kemp doing? Was brilliant at our place a couple of seasons ago. How's he doing for you?
Yeah, he's a gem of a player for us. He's been fantastic since we signed him last season. So he's a big part of what we do, and I think that there's been people looking at him obviously because of his qualities, but he loves it here and wants to continue his form here. So he's been fantastic. As has every individual. We've got some incredible people here that are just performing at a really high level, and they should be really proud of what they're doing at the moment. Yeah,
make sure the next time you see Dan, you tell him I blame him for Hartlepoole's current demise. Because since he's left, it's been downhill all the way, mate. Downhill all the way.
I'll remind him.
Do that. Hey, Alex, great to talk to you.
Keep it going, mate. Good luck.
Thanks very much for your time. Cheers.
It's a pleasure. Alex Revel there.
Great story.
It's a fantastic story. I've been to Stevenage many times as well. We always get, when we're in the same league, which obviously we're a long way apart now, we used to get absolutely battered every.
You get places like that, don't you?
Yeah, but the owner, Phil Wallace, is a good guy, and he's backed the club for a long time. Brilliant. Nice message. I'm going to read it out. Adam from Hertford says, Jeff and Coisty, he says, it's like going down the pub with your dad when you were younger. Him chatting with his mates and you sitting next to the open fire with a bag of pork scratching. Cosy and feels like home. Only issue, Adam, is he's nicked all the pork scratching.
I was going to say, can we replace that with salt and vinegar?
You're not a pork scratching man?
No.
Oh, because you're an athlete. Whereas I'm the darts player here. Okay. Up next, we'll bring you some brilliant clips from England legend Paul Gascoigne's interview on the station yesterday.
It's all about passing nowadays. You never see any player like, I'd love to see a player get the ball and say, have a go at him, man, go on.
The Lions. Real-life fantasy rugby. Bitter rivalries set aside in a quest to create the world's best team in weeks. There's nothing like it, but who on earth had the idea and how did it all begin? Incredibly, the first Lions tour was organised and funded by three men who played in England's first ever Test cricket match: opening bowler Alfred Shaw, opening batsman Arthur Shrewsbury and captain James Lillywhite. The 1888 Lions squad, then made up of 17 English, 4 Scots and 1 Welshman and a Northern Irishman, took a 46-day boat trip to New Zealand before heading to Australia. The Lions weren't alone on the boat. Also on board were 300 stoats and weasels, who were brought over to eliminate New Zealand's rabbit problem. The first ever Lions captain, Robert Seddon, died of drowning midway through the tour while sculling on a river. Andrew Stoddart, who was another of the cricketers there, took over and was the star of the tour. The next one was the first to get official recognition from the RFU against the newly formed Springboks. Although the Lions won the series and beat the Boks again 5 years later, in the 12 series since in South Africa, they've only won 2. New Zealand has proved an even tougher hunting ground, just the 1 series win for the Lions in 11 attempts, which came in 1971. And then there was that nail-shredding drawn series in 2017, only the second in Lions history. Only once have the Lions clinched a series after losing the first test, 1989, when David Campese's infamous ghost pass was pounced upon by Ian Evans. Before World War II, the Lions had a dark blue strip, which on the 1930 tour forced the All Blacks to play in all white. So in 1950, the iconic red shirts, white shorts and blue and green socks combination was born. It remains the symbol of the greatest alliance of adversaries in all of sport. To borrow the phrase from Jim Telfer, the Lions is Everest.
Morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. Very nearly 6 minutes past 8, Tuesday, October the 14th. Simon in Chesham's had his say on whether darts is a sport or not. He said, lads, archery is an Olympic sport. Darts is no different. Player A beats player B. Darts is quite simply a sport, regardless of the competitor's shape. Let's not be shapeist. You're absolutely right, Simon.
It's a good point, that.
It's a very good point.
Very good point.
And John in Bristol, I think we can echo this. Talking of the Welsh team, can I just say how great it is to hear that Tom Lockyer is back in training with Bristol Rovers after everything he's been through. Spot on, John. We all wish Tom absolutely all the best.
Without doubt we do. Absolutely.
And now there was a very special guest at talkSPORT yesterday, the England legend, national hero, friend of Ali. Of course, it was Gazza, Paul Gascoigne, was in the studio. Spent a bit of time with him as well. Coisty, when was the last time you'd seen him?
There's a question. Probably about 18 months. I think I'd seen him for about 18 months. He was up in Glasgow speaking, maybe about a year ago, and I went to see him in a hotel. But do you know something? He was looking great. And he was sounding well. it was just good to see him, and he looks as though he's in a good place, which is the most important thing, Jeff. And I was chuffed to bits. He was in good form. He came on and I listened to it. I went back across to the channel and listened to it with Jim and Simon and Martin, and I thought he was great. And it's just, let's be honest about it. We all worry about Gaz, don't we? We do. He's a concern. But that was as good as I've seen him and heard him in a while. And I was chuffed to bits. We sat in there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes and just laughed. Great to see him. Went over a few of the old stories that we've never get bored of telling each other. So I was chuffed to bits to see him.
We'll be asking about those old stories in a moment. But Gazza joined Jim White, Simon Jordan and Martin Keane yesterday. And he spoke about a whole load of things, really. Let's hear from him now, talking about his current well-being and, of course, his history with alcohol.
The last couple of years have just been like 2-day blips, and then maybe 4 months without a drink, and then, you know, it's like with me, I think it's if I had a drink for like 2 days, it's a consequence. Like the last time was, I think it was about a few months ago, or whatever, and I didn't have a drink for 3 or 4 months, and then I had a day off just having a bottle of Serrano, and I went to put the bottle in the bin, and I tripped on the front mat and fractured my kneecap. So that was in the hospital now. So then I got through that. So really, it's the consequences, you know. Years ago, I used to be a happy drunk, and now it's like if I have a drink and I'm a bit drunk, then I get sad, and then I lock myself away. It's not as if I go out and drink. It's like I was indoors on my own, so it's a waste of time anyway, you know. It's not as if I go out and enjoy it, and I just sit there and watching a movie and then fall asleep, and then I think, what did I do that for, you know? And then it takes us another week to just get back to like the poor personality again, you know. So, you know, me and drink don't get on really, to be fair.
Yeah.
You know, I'm better without it.
And if he's conquering his drink demons, obviously that's fantastic news.
Of course it is. I mean, it's important that he handles it, Jeff, because I think everything he says there is spot on. I remember back in the day, it's obviously very sad and concerning listening to him there. I remember back in the day, he was a happy drunk, you know, and great company and really funny and good to be around. And then you hear about him there, obviously drinks having an adverse effect on him. It's doing anything other than make him happy or putting him in a good place or making him fun to be around. So that's when you've got a serious problem, and it looks as though just keep having crossed that he's acknowledged that. He's just, the quote there that I took from it was him and drink don't go on. And if he can realise that, then that's the start. So, but I was encouraged, you know, by the way he was yesterday, Jeff, how he sounded, how he felt, how he looked, how he was feeling about life, and how his life was. So the only concern is, I mean, alcoholics will tell you better than me, you know, they're alcoholics for the reason, and they find it impossible to give it up. So, but all you can do is keep having fingers crossed. But it was great. I mean, I don't want to be downbeat about it, anything but. I want to be positive about it because he was a brilliant.
Well, let's be positive. Now, I'm going to ask you this, and you can tell me if you can't tell us.
Yeah.
But I got a text here saying, Ali, please tell the story of the jet skis. Best one ever.
Oh, the jet. It's a 20-minute job. It really is. He came in.
But that you're used to those.
He came in before the Euros and said, "Coist, I've got you a gig down in London." I says, "What is it, mate?" He said, "I'm supposed to be doing this thing with Big Les Ferdinand, and it's just getting photographs taken going about London docks and a jet ski, and it's an advert for the jet skis." And I said, "Okay." I said, "What's the deal?" He says, "Well, you can keep the jet ski." I says, "That'll do me a lot of good. I can nip down Bridgewere Main Street for my rolls in the morning, my jet ski." And he went, no, all right, we'll just sort something out, we'll sell it, we'll get you a few quid anyway. I ended up doing it, right? So I went down there, and Big Les and I have got the wetsuits on, and we're firing about in these jet skis in the docks in London. And there was two guys, one of them driving a kind of wee boat, and the other one taking pictures. And the boy went, just one last, he says, "You've been great, lads." He says, "Just one last, one wee last snap." He said, "If you can come in front of the boat," he said, "and just cross over in front of the boat, and I'll be side on taking some snaps." "Oh, that sounds smashing." I said, "Lovely, right, Les?" I says, "You go first." So Big Les, and as Big Les comes across me, Jeff, right, there's this spray comes up, and I can't see, right? I quite literally, it blinds me. And when I open my eyes, I'm literally 6 feet from the boat, right? So my lasting memory is the guy that's driving the boat diving off the front of the boat. And the guy with the camera diving off the back of the boat, right? And Jeff, I hit the boat and I go about. I remember Live and Let Die, James Bond, Roger Moore. That was me in a jet ski. So I went flying over, right? And of course, let's just turn around, seen two guys jumping off the boat. And honest to God, it was one of those situations. Once we found out the boys were all right, I mean, the camera, there's about $3,000 worth of that camera was just a write-off, do you know what I mean? And I swear to God, the guy was getting he'd trout in his pocket and all that stuff. He was soaking wet, dripping. And Big Les and I swear to God, Jeff, every time Big Les and I bump into each other, we just look at each other and start laughing our socks off. So that was the jet ski story with Gascoigne, man. Honest to God, I've got your jet ski. I said, great. I can see myself driving it down the main street and Bridge away from my newspapers in the morning. But he was in top form yesterday, and it was great. And as I say, we sat in there with 15 minutes. And you worry about him because you just worry about him whether he's drinking or whether he's. I worry about him being lonely, you know. And he said he's sitting watching a film himself because the one thing about him, he was always a people person, great to be around and great company. So it looks and very much sounds as though he's back heading in the right direction, and long may that continue, mate.
Let's have another quick word from him now. I mean, he was talking about his Rangers days and just how fondly he remembers playing at Ibrox.
I love Rangers because when I was younger, when I was 15, where I lived, there was two guys that were Scottish, and they always talked about the Celtic Rangers derby, and that's all they ever talked about it, you know. And you talk about genius. It's funny, just when he said that, it was what I always remember Walter Smith. He said, "I need you to go for a head scan." I said, "What for?" He said, "We made us go for a head scan," and he went, "That's it." He said, "I need to see you now upstairs in the top tier." And I said, "What's wrong?" He says, "I've got to leave you be. You're a genius." I went, "What does that mean?" He says, you've got to do to let you do what you want. And no one does that with me. And he grabbed us by the throat and throttling us. And he went, "You better score tomorrow." I did. I made sure I got a couple of goals. But I remember when he said, because he got in trouble with him once, and he went, "All right, and you better get me a brace tomorrow." I went, "Okay then." I went to the shop and bought a brace. I didn't realise the brace was $2 goals. So I bought him a brace. Do
you know something, Jeff? I honestly think that we get the best out of him as a player at that period. I know he was fantastic at Newcastle and he had periods throughout his career, but I think just at Rangers he was completely settled and happy, you know. He could go and do his fishing. The people loved him. He lived in his wee village and he could go and do his own thing. And the two men that got him, for me, better than MD, were Walter Smith and Terry Venables. And he loved them both. Obviously I love Sir Bobby as well, but I think Terry and Walter just got him. And I always tell this story, and it's a great story, and Walter used to tell it about Billy Connolly. Walter met Billy Connolly, and Billy says to him, he says, how's the madman getting on? How's Gascoigne getting on? And Walter said, "Oh, he's great, Billy." He said, "It's fantastic." He said, "He's brilliant." He said, "But he's some boy. You need to keep your eye on him." And Billy Connolly said to him, Walter tells the story, Billy Connolly says, he said, "You're right, Walter." He says, "But remember," he says, "you've got to live with a genius." He says, "because the genius sometimes won't live with you." In other words, you're going to have to adapt a little bit. And I thought Walter did it perfectly.
Brilliant. Would Gazza, does he go down? Does he qualify as an all-time great?
For me, yeah. For me, absolutely for me. I don't think England have had any like him either. I mean, listen to the first piece that he said, and it's all about passing, and it is all about passing, and passing is a massive part of the game. I can't remember watching or playing with a teammate who had, it's a strange thing to say when I'm talking about somebody extremely talented, but he had a physicality to go by people. He used his pace and upper body strength. Clearly he had bundles of skill, but he'd an aggressive streak to get by people, which was absolutely amazing. Certainly, I would have him down as one of the best. Yeah, certainly one of the best I played with, that's for sure.
Yeah, it just exhilarating to watch, that is for sure. And great to see him looking in good nick here yesterday. Nylan Amar, by the way, morning lads, any chance of a word on Northern Ireland giving the Germans a game last night at Windsor Park? Yeah, now we're going to be talking about it just after 8:30, and then after 9 we'll have the Northern Ireland manager Michael O'Neill with us as well. But coming up, well, yesterday we got the odds on Scotland to win the World Cup. Today we're going to be asking what price Cape Verde to win the World Cup. That's next. Good morning, 8:22. It's Tuesday, October the 14th. We've just been talking Gazza and Coisty. I'm going to ask you one more story because Ash and Philip have both asked the same questions. Please ask Ali about Gordon Jury and the fish in the car.
A fish story is remarkable. I mean, there were a lot of people out there heard it, but I'll make no apology for telling it again. He used to go fish in the morning. He couldn't, he's an insomniac, couldn't sleep. So he went fishing on the loch up there at the other side of the village, and he'd come in, and we were always calling ties. So he came in one morning, Jeff, with his waders on, right, and a collar tie on underneath it, and two trout. He's got two brownies, right? So we were howling of laughter, howling. Anyway, jukebox is winding them up for the upcoming Scotland-England game. Anyway, boys went out training, and Gaz and I were injured. And he went like me, go and get his keys. I says, who? He says, Jury's, go and get his keys, sorting them out. So went out his car, and it's brilliant. Opened the boot, undid the spare tyre, and I put the fish in, and I put the other fish in. And he goes, no, and he shakes a finger at me. I said, what? He says, watch. So he takes one of the fish out, and he screws the tyre back down, opens the back door of this Honda, and finds a compartment you would never know existed, throws the other brown trout in, and says, when he finds the first fish, he'll think that's it. Right? And I've got to say, at that moment in time, I stood back and realised I was in the presence of genius.
Well, that is genius,
isn't it? And I swear to God, I mean, I know we're going to Coral and Steve-O. See, for the next 2 weeks, Gordon Jury was dry. He was arriving up Ibrox for training with his windows open. You know those Christmas trees? He did about 411 air freshener Christmas trees, man.
Fantastic. The genius of Gazza. All right, let's get the latest stories now with Coral and Dave Stevens.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Steve-O, good morning to you.
Morning, Steve-O.
Gents, good morning. That's brilliant. Gazza, not only a genius with a football, but with his pranks as well. But it's kind of bittersweet listening to the interview yesterday because for me, he's the most talented English player I've ever seen. Yeah. He was just at his best. Italian 90, Euro 96. Just such great memories, Alien. Yeah. And I know, look, you could spend the whole show telling your Gascoigne stories. We worked with Alan Shearer for many years, and of course, Al had a whole catalogue of them as well. But as I say, you listen to him and your heart goes out to him. You wish him all the best because, as I say, he was a very special player.
Yeah. And love, just saying, I was saying, Steve-O, to Jeff there, the amount of love that he's got out there, whether it's taxi drivers and all the young team, it's just brilliant. It's fantastic. But it was great. It was really encouraging, Steve. I just said to Jeff there, he looked and sounded as though he was in a very good place, and hopefully, his fingers crossed, long may that continue.
Yeah, and you talked there, Ali, playing the prank there on Gordon Jury and everything, but there was never any malice, was there? It was all for the fun with Gazza.
No malice, but plenty of madness.
Good title for a book.
Look, Steve, we were talking to John Hills yesterday. We asked him about Scotland's prize for the World Cup. Cape Verde, the latest qualifiers, and they've got a bit of pedigree in recent years as well. What sort of price are they?
I can't believe you're dragging me into this, Jeff.
It's terrible.
Just to wind up Ali and all our Scottish friends, the fact that Cape Verde are the same price as Scotland to win the World Cup is not something I particularly want to go into.
The same price?
Steve-O.
Ali, I don't set the odds. For me, that's wrong. Scotland should be far shorter than Cape Verde. Now I'm going to go and upset all the Cape Verde listeners out there, aren't I?
What about tonight, Steve-O? England.
Thank you.
They'll be yeah, I'm trying to get you out of here. They'll be heavy odds on.
Yeah, look, 1 to 16, 33 to 1 Lavia. Let's not, as a betting medium in that, it's all about things like correct score. 3-0. Which is what the reverse fixture was, is 9-2, 3-0 England, I should say. Yeah. 2-0 is the shortest price outcome at just under... No, sorry, 2-0 is even actually a little bit bigger. 5-1. That's what it's looking like. Harry Kane, he'll be back, we assume. He's a short price to open the scoring again. Jeff, I mean, what's a good result here for England tonight? Go out, win 2-3-0, get the job done.
I think that's the minimum requirement. Minimum.
Really?
You know, bearing in mind this was a side that drew at home with Andorra, you know, in their last game at the weekend. So you do think we've got to put down a marker. And if what Thomas Tuchel is saying is correct, you know, it's all about the team, and we listed a few of the players who are not in that squad right now, then those players, they're going to want to produce a performance, aren't they? Steve, what about the overall World Cup betting then? I would imagine in English football fans' eyes, we might be a bit shorter with you than maybe, you know, overseas fans would see it.
Yeah, very much so. We're always, as a British-based fan, we're always going to see money for England. Not just England, we'll see money for Scotland when the time comes. But England are 7-1, third favourites, which is still, for me, probably a little bit short. You know, they're a shorter price than Brazil. They're a shorter price than Argentina. For me, going to America in the conditions out there, it's going to suit the South Americans more. Spain are 4-1 favourites, 13-2 France, and as I say, then it's England. Look, I can always leave England alone. I've seen. I went back to Italia '90. I mentioned, you know, I've had too much disappointment as an England fan. I'm on the other side now as a bookmaker, where you know you kind of watch it, and if they win, you know it's going to be a terrible result for the firm. But they haven't done it for so long. Of those first sort of 4 or 5 I've mentioned, Ali, any of them take your fancy at the moment?
At the moment, I don't know. I'd maybe be thinking Argentina. You know, you've got to look. I mean, France. They've got some fantastic players and a great squad, but I'm just thinking if you're looking for a wee bit of value, I can't understand, for example, maybe how Argentina would be. What did you say they were? 7s or 8s?
Argentina are 8-1, Brazil 7.5, England 7. So yeah, I mean that reflects, as I say, the fact that we're going to see money as a British firm.
Steve, I want to talk to you quickly. A wee bit of interesting news. We're looking forward to the weekend. Obviously, Ascot, Ombudsman, and Delacroix. And the Champion Stakes, they might have a bit of company though, as Art Werner Graffard has book Calandigan. He fancies Calandigan to give it, who's on, I think it's on a hat-trick of Group 1s itself.
Yeah, I mean, what a season Francis-Henri Graffard has had. Won the Arc, won the King George at Ascot with Calandigan. Was second in this race last year. This is a brilliant day, Kipco Champions Day at Ascot. But the most mouth-watering clash is this Kipco Champion Stakes, where the Coral Eclipse 1-2, Delacroix and Ombudsman are having their third match. It's like a boxing one, the trilogy. But Chuck Calandigan in, who is by no means, you know, just there to make up the numbers. That's brilliant. Field of Gold has got to bounce back in the QE2. We've got Lazat, another one from France in the sprint. And Trawlerman will be a very short price in the long-distance cup. But yeah, it's a brilliant day. But no question, Ombudsman, Delacroix, Calandigan, this could be an absolute thriller.
Yeah.
Steve, thanks very much.
Have a good day, mate.
Cheers, fellas.
Cheers, mate.
And those are the latest odds with Coral 18+, gambleaware.org.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Amen Corner, perhaps the most feared run of holes in golf. Each year it claims the tournament hopes of many, with balls hitting bunkers and water traps aplenty. But why is it so fearsome, and where did it get its name? Just the thoughts of holes 11, 12 and 13 at Augusta National gives the likes of Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth the shivers. McIlroy hit 3 over and Spieth hit 4 over in their final rounds to blow their hopes of a green jacket in 2011 and 2016 respectively. But did you know Amen Corner's name is inspired by a jazz song from 1933? American sports writer Herbert Warren Wint, on the left here, wrote about it in 1958, referencing the song shouted in that Amen Corner when describing the run. Hole 11 is a par 4 over 520 yards with a green guarded by a pond and bunkers to the front edge. 12, perhaps golf's most famous hole, is a par 3 over just 155 yards. The green's guarded by Rays Creek at the front, more bunkers and azalea bushes ready to punish the smallest error. Then there's the 13th that teases the hook shot over the trees. It's a dogleg par 5 over 545 yards that's inviting for big hitters who want to reach the green in 2. If you want to win the Masters, you have to keep your score down around Amen Corner. So who'll be the next to fall victim to golf's most famous and most daunting challenge?
Morning, 8:35, Tuesday, October the 14th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Gets £750 of any used electric car or home charger. And now Jack Wilshere was named yesterday as the new manager of League One side Luton Town. He joined talkSPORT Drive show just hours later and was asked how the opportunity came about.
Honestly, and I'm not just saying this, and I've been involved in a few processes, not many. I'm sure there's coaches out there that have been through more than I have, but actually this one was excellent. We started at the beginning of the week. I was put through different challenges, had to speak to people, and what it did, Andy, is gave me and listen, I've got a connection with the club anyway, and I understood it, but it gave me even more of an understanding, and I think it gave them more of an understanding of who am I and how I want to work. So yeah, it's been a really good week.
Well, it's a big opportunity for him, isn't it?
Some cup tie. See the cup draw?
Luton. No,
Yeah.
Who did they get?
I'm sure they've got Robbie Savage and Forest
they have
Green
Forest Green Rovers. Yeah. Is there a replay first somewhere?
Have I done that?
Yeah,
I ruled somebody out of the equation. If I do, I apologise.
So. But look, in terms of the job, the problem is, if there is a problem, it's a great opportunity for Jack. And people will look at him and think, with his background starting in League One, but I tell you what, like Kevin Phillips started in the National League North, for example. So it's hard to find
they don't care
that
you
first
start.
opportunity, isn't it? But there are going to be high expectations.
Oh, you better believe it, particularly at that club, who have had, dare I say, a fall from grace. You think we were a couple of years. We spoke about it yesterday. It seems like yesterday. I was watching them play against the Arsenal.
Yeah.
And Declan Rice scoring in, whatever it was, 92nd minute, 93rd minute. So it just shows you, and it also shows you, and it just gives you a wee reminder of the quality, perhaps in the Championship and the lower leagues, because if you don't keep on top of it, you can drop like a stone, right? But you're right, there'll be an expectation, a greater expectation at Luton for Jack than there would have been at certain clubs, for sure.
Yeah, obviously we wish him
without doubt.
Well, that is for sure. Just a quick one, Coisty. Andy from Edinburgh says, been a lot of talk about the new Rangers manager, fans wanting someone who knows the club's Scottish football and the supporters. Yesterday you had David Healy on, 10 years at Linfield, huge success. He's a Rangers man who gets the expectations and could unite the fans. If he brought an experienced backroom team, would he be a good appointment?
He'd certainly come into equate. I just think there has to be a bond somewhere within the club between the fans and management. I really do. Probably more than most clubs, Jeff, right? And I just think it's been missing for a long, long time. They've got to get the appointment right, but there has to be, it's as if there's got to be somebody in there that the fans can trust and rely on. Trust is maybe not the right word. It means you don't trust it, but you know the point I'm trying to make. There has to be in my opinion, there has to be a figure in there that the fans know, that the person in there, the individual, relates and knows the club and gets the club and knows what's required on and off the pitch. I think that's sadly been missing.
Well, he was certainly an impressive interviewee.
Wasn't he just?
As well. That is for sure.
And he's done a great job with the Blues, I'll tell you that right now. I saw him, well, you saw him as well last night. Spoke well as well.
Yeah, he's excellent. He won't have enjoyed the outcome.
No.
Of course, Nick Voldemarder's first international goal, enough to beat Northern Ireland in Belfast. A fluke came off his shoulder.
Yeah.
So Northern Ireland down, but not out by any means just yet. Let's get more on this from a man who played 45 times for them over 20 years. It's their former keeper, Roy Carroll. Morning, Roy.
How are you, big man?
Morning, guys. Morning, Ali. Great to see you, mate. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time, mate. Great to see you. You're looking well. You're looking well. We watched the game last night, Roy. I've got to say, and Jeff and I were speaking about it first thing this morning, back at 6 o'clock. I thought it was clearly the result didn't go the way we wanted, but it gave us everything else, mate. The passion for the crowd, the desire, the attitude, the skill that the Northern Irish boys played. I thought, the result clearly is the most important thing, Roy, but all in all, I don't think you could have any complaints about the level of performance that Michael O'Neill's side gave everybody.
No, Ali, you're 100% right. That's the thing about Northern Ireland. I was so proud of the players and everybody involved in Northern Ireland last night. The performance that they put in especially in the second half, we knew the Germans a world-class team. They came out at us in the first half. We sat in there. We defended really well. They didn't have that many chances, as you said. They got a corner kick. They scored from the arm of the German player, and it was one of those games that Northern Ireland came back into it in the second half. But very proud of the players. Very proud of the players on Friday night as well against Slovakia. Two massive games. We're a small country. We don't have 22 quality, unbelievable players like world-class players. It's very difficult, the second game, but it proved last night how good these young players can be in the future of Northern Ireland football. It's just what where their pathway is going to be playing for the club levels. Hopefully they keep playing at the highest level they can do. We're not going to have many players playing in the Premier League because that's the way the football is at the moment in Northern Ireland with the players. But they will always give you 100%, and the fans were right behind them last night. I always say about the supporters in Northern Ireland, they're one of the best supporters I ever played in front of. And it showed last night, watching the game last night, they were right behind them until the final minutes.
I mean, you talk about players not playing in the Premier League, the likes of Shea Charles and Ethan Galbraith, well, if they keep on playing like that, they'll be playing in the Premier League. They were absolutely wonderful. But if you looked at the squad, you're right. Well, obviously, I mean, I looked at the squad and you've got players. Jamie Reid started, plays for Stevenage, plays from Huddersfield and Blackpool and Oxford. How on earth does Michael O'Neill get them to produce performances like this against a side like Germany?
I think Michael O'Neill's, since I've been involved in Northern Ireland, when I first came back in 2012, Michael O'Neill just took over as the manager, and the way he speaks to the players, man management's unbelievable by Michael O'Neill. He's very calm. He helps his players through matches. Even after the game last night, he was so proud of his players. He was talking more about the referee play last night, but the players for me works for the manager when the manager is good to them, and it shows that on the pitch. The last two games were unbelievable by these young players. The average, I don't know what the average age is, but it's very, very young. Like Paddy McNair came off, and the average age probably went down by another 3 or 4 years. it's just the way Michael talks to him, and the way he wants his players to play for Northern Ireland. The passion that they had over the last 2 games was fantastic. Even against the Germans last night, after running against Slovakia on Friday night, they still had energy to play the energy they did against the Germans last night. Okay, fair enough. We didn't have that many chances in the game, but we had a goal disallowed for offside, and we had a few half chances after that. But we're going to expect that against the Germans. But by losing a goal from a set piece, where Northern Ireland are quite good at the other end and defend very well from set pieces, was probably disappointed. The only disappointing thing of the game.
I tell you what, Roy, I mean, we were speaking yesterday as well. Even the level of performance, never mind last night, beating Slovakia, I thought a great performance over in Germany. Clearly the result was a setback, but still everything to play for in the group, and qualification absolutely cannot be ruled out.
It's in the hands of Northern Ireland now. It depends. It's the next game against Luxembourg at home was probably the one. It's one of those games like where everybody expects us to be at Luxembourg at home. Yes, we should do on paper, but that's probably always the ones you have to look out for as an ex-player, because I've been in them games before when you could go away, you play Portugal away, we drew 1-1, we come back and we drew against Luxembourg at home. So it's one of them games where we have to be very careful. Probably the disappointment thing about it at the start of the campaign was probably Germany losing against Slovakia. That's probably the most probably thing we're looking at now. But it's in our hands. End of the day, Michael knows what he needs to do to the players, and the players will come back even stronger. Hopefully, everybody will come back fully fit for the next campaign, for the next month, and get the results what we need to get through to get the second spot.
Roy, brilliant. Disappointing result, but fantastic performance. The last 15 or 20 minutes, really uplifting. Very much enjoyed it.
Great to see you, big fella. Looking well, big man.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
The former Northern Ireland keeper, Roy Carroll, ex-Manchester United, of course, as well. We'll be joined by Michael O'Neill at 9:30 this morning. Another former Manchester United goalkeeper, Ben Foster, will be alongside me for all 4 hours tomorrow.
Yeah. You'll have a bit of fun with him, I can tell you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That'll be good fun.
Now, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarx Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarx.
England have the chance to secure automatic qualification tonight. They take on Latvia, ranked world number 137 in Riga. We'll be heading back out there to continue our build-up to the game and find out if we expect Marcus Rashford to start up top for England, or will Harry Kane be back? And we'll also delve into the incredible story that is Cape Verde qualifying for their first ever World Cup finals. And that was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. With 250 hire branches nationwide, it's easy to hire at Travis Perkins.
Morning, it's very nearly 8:50 on Tuesday, October the 14th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling and Ally McCoist. We're talking boxing now. It just wasn't to be for Dave Allen on Saturday.
Bob Williams scores the contest 115-111. John Robert Lane scores the contest 116-110. And Pavel Kardini scores the contest 117-109. All three in favour of your winner by unanimous decision, the Lion, Arslanbek Makhmudov.
Yeah, Makhmudov winning the fight. The judges scoring unanimously 115 to 111, 117 to 109, 116 to 110. So defeat in front of his own fans at the Sheffield Arena for Dave Allen. What next for him? Then he still has another deal remaining on his Matchroom contract. Let's bring in the man himself. Dave Allen, very good morning to you.
Dave, good morning, mate.
Hello, how you doing, people? Good?
We're in top form,
we're
mate.
good,
top
mate.
form.
You?
Yeah, very good. Alan McCoist, yeah. I know he was a footballer and that, but I loved Question of Sport as a kid. That was my thing.
Did you enjoy it, Dave, did you?
Question of Sport, I was about 8 years old. It was me against my sisters. Used to beat me up after we played. Used to play along.
Happy
Great
days,
memories.
mate. Happy days.
Mate.
Well, I started off with, first of all, with David Coleman, and then Sue Barker. I used to ask the questions, and funnily enough, we had her on last week, mate, and she was in brilliant form. They were happy days, mate. Happy days.
Yeah, that was my childhood. Question of Sport, I loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
Brilliant.
Magic, mate.
Hey, look, I can ask you this because you're a long way away from us, but it was a tough night for you, wasn't it, in front of your own fans in Sheffield?
Yeah, it was very hard. I knew it was going to be hard, though. You know, I wasn't one of those that thought I was a favourite. I know I was the underdog. It was a big ask. I just beat Johnny Fisher. You know, I've not even won the British title. I got given the opportunity to maybe gatecrash the world scene, you know, face the elite. And why not? You know, I've always fought the best. That's what I've always done. I think people like me because I've always fought the best. I know it was a big ask, and it turned out that way. You know, he was a big, powerful, strong man, very experienced. And it was a little bit too good for me. And that's okay. I tried my best. Came up second best. It happened. So I'm proud of the performance, but I came up short, yeah.
And so you should be proud of it, Dave. Tell me, mate, I heard you watched the fight, and I heard that your interviews after it, and you said you had been punched or felt a force like it with Makhmudov's punching power. What was the difference? Just sheer power?
Yeah, it was very powerful. Yeah, he had a good jab. He came out to try and get rid of me, I think, in a couple of rounds. I think he realised that wasn't going to happen. And then he boxed. He used his boxing ability. He was the number one Russian on the amateur team for many years. And he just knew a little bit too much. You know, when I did get to him, I got to him a few times. He tied me up and he used experience. I thought I gave 100%. I didn't box the best of my ability. I think I tried maybe a little bit too hard. But the top and bottom is he was the better man, and I can't. There's no excuse. There's no denying that he beat me fair and square, and you know we move on.
Well, you talk about moving on. Eddie Hearn's already said he's had calls about people wanting to fight you next. So what could be next? What would you like?
I think we're going back to Sheffield Arena, actually. Eddie said, let's go back to Sheffield Arena. We filled it the other day, said, let's go back. I said, under one condition, we don't fight any 6'6", 6'7" Russians. Yes. So I'd love to go back. I got on the stage Saturday night and like 9,000 people there screaming. I've never seen anything like it. I've been to world title fights all around the world. Never seen an atmosphere like it. You know, it was incredible. It really took me back, and I want to go back to Sheffield. I want to do it again. But let's get a winnable fight next time. That'd be nice.
Well, you spoke about it there, Dave, and obviously in the build up to the fight, you'd said you'd been there a good few times, particularly in Kilbrook's undercards and things like that. But the one thing I got from the fight after it, obviously the disappointment, losing to the opponent, but the sheer emotion that you displayed actually fighting there, you know, the effect that arena and those fans had on you was very, very evident.
Yeah, the only reason I got through the 12 rounds was the crowd, really. My coach wanted to pull me after 10. He said, look, you've had enough. I said, look, I'm not bringing 9,000 people to Sheffield to watch me stay out in the corner. I said, I'd rather get put out flat on my back than be pulled out. So they got me through the fight, and I always said I'd never top headline in the O2 with Lucas Brown, but I think Saturday night topped it. I go on the stage and I was about to start crying when I got on the stage. I could feel it. Yeah. You know, when you feel it, I felt it. I thought, I want to cry here. So I rushed to the ring and I thought, let's get this. I need this fella to punch me before I start crying. So yeah, it was incredible, really. Yeah.
Tell me, David, you obviously, when you previously retired, you did a little bit of training with some of the younger boxers. You're not ready for that yet, but long term, do you fancy that?
Yeah, I had 2 fighters on the undercard Saturday that I trained and managed.
Yeah.
I watched them from home, actually. They were fighting. I was at home, and they both fought. They both won. That was terrifying. It was terrifying. Yeah, they both boxed great. I can't wait to coach. That's what I do. I'm not the best fighter in the world, but I care about people. I want people to be the best version of themselves. You know, I've come up from, you know, I never really had much, and I've done really well, and I want everyone to have the chance of doing that anyway. That's what it's all about. It's about having a chance. You know, we can't all do great things. I've done good things, not great things, but you have to have the chance. So hopefully, when I finish boxing, you know, it's not about me being a great trainer, manager, promoter. It's about me giving opportunities to people like me, and that's what I want to do when it's all done for me.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that. I was going to ask, you know, I mean, since that David Price fight, you know, it's been a long haul back, hasn't it? Well, 5-6 years, something like that. Might the next fight be the last, or is that something you've not thought about?
You never say never. I love it. I do love fighting. I do. The only thing I wish is that I was better. I just wish I was better at it. I really do. You know, I wish I'd have lived better. I wouldn't say I have regrets because I had a great life, but I wish I'd have tried better. Tried more when I was younger. I wish I was more talented. I wish I was taller. I wish my arms were a bit longer. But life is what it is, and I can't moan too much. But you know, hopefully I'll have a few more fights. It's a very difficult thing to leave alone. It's hard. It's a very hard thing to leave alone, boxing. It's addictive almost. You know, I got a right good hiding on Saturday, but I can't wait to go again.
I've got to say to you, Dave, listening to you there, and I'm clearly not wanting to wish your career away. Hopefully there's another at least a couple of good fights left in you, mate. But you sound to me as though you will be absolutely perfect for coaching and bringing the youngsters through with the way you've looked at the sport, the way you've handled the sport, and the way you know the sport, mate. So that seems pretty obvious to me that will be, when you retire, an obvious step for you, mate. And I think it'd be a great move, not only for you, but obviously for your pupils.
Yeah, I've been training and managing fighters for 6 years now. I've had a European champion, I've had a few area champions, I've had a few champions, but it's not really about the champions. You know, I've had a few kids that I've kept out of trouble. You know, I had one kid live with me for 4 years. You know, kept him out of trouble. So, I love boxing. I love boxing, and I love people. You know, so whatever happens for my career. My career is my career. It is what it is. It's all about having a nice life for my family, having a nice life for myself, and hopefully setting up a nice life for myself after boxing.
Dave, we've already had a text in from someone called Ian about you, and it just says, "What a cracking fella."
Yep.
Well done,
well,
mate.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. The kids were going mental, so I had to come out here. I had a few But a few Dave Allen fans passing already this morning, so
great.
Can't
Good lad.
complain. Life's good.
Hey, brilliant to talk to you, Dave. Look after yourself, mate.
Take care,
Thank
mate.
you.
All the very
Thank
best.
you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
He's right. What a cracking fella.
Oh, I mean, that was just magic.
No excuses about the fight. And he says, I just wish I was better. You know.
Does he not seem to you? I mean, if you had kids yourself, whether young boys or young girls, whatever it may be, do you not think listening to him, he would be the perfect coach to send them to?
Yeah.
He just sounds as though he gets it.
Yeah.
He knows the sport. He knows his own abilities, capabilities.
Oh, man.
I enjoyed that, mate. I enjoyed
As
that.
a human being, massively impressed. Massively impressed.
Here.
8:59. Coming up, Thomas Tuchel has asked Marcus Rashford to prove his quality tonight for England, which is live on talkSPORT. But can we learn anything against Latvia? We'll discuss that next.
A merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021 one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian Casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
Morning, 9:05, Tuesday, October the 14th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. Loads to bring you between now and 10, including the Northern Ireland manager Michael O'Neill. He'll join the show at about 9:30 to chat about all things Northern Ireland after that narrow defeat against Germany last night. And the AFC Tottenham manager Jimmy Ball will be with us as his side make the 400-mile round trip to face Truro City in an FA Cup fourth qualifying round replay tonight. Chris has texted in, said, "Morning, lads." It's Chris from Kirby. Big shout out to Conor Bradley. Was suspended for last night's Northern Ireland game, of course, was offered the chance to return to Liverpool and chill before the United match at the weekend, but decided to stay the weekend with the Northern Ireland lads and was with them on the bench last night. What a class act.
Brilliant.
Absolutely concur. Conor Bradley, big miss for them last night, even though they did themselves proud.
They did. Can I just get a wee bit of trumpet blowing?
Yeah.
Eswatini, right?
Yeah.
Borders, it looks very much to me as if it borders South Africa, Botswana, which I threw into the equation, Zimbabwe, and it is on the east coast, southeast coast of Africa, which, by the way, looks a long way from Cape Verde. So, see, my point is, the African qualification, is it not done in a kind of roundabout thing like North Africa?
Coisties travels yet again.
Get Adrian Durmon and save me. Get Aid on. Aid, help.
Yeah,
help.
That's where we're heading to next. We're heading off to Latvia. Do you know where Latvia is?
Yes.
No. Let's not do that.
so to another qualifier. So far, it's a campaign full of flawless results, but full of flawed performances.
Not a performance that makes you think that anything has changed, and England have beaten Albania by 2-0.
Thomas Tuchel said he wanted to entertain us. That simply is not happening.
More boos from the England fans that have stayed in. Very little to write home about. Andorra 0, England 1.
We were reminded yesterday that it is a process that has to be done step by step.
Over time, I think you're going to see a team that's how he really, really wants to work.
A stunning performance and a quite magnificent victory. 5-0.
There's enough talent in this squad to be brilliant on their day. There's no doubt about that.
Saka turning it onto his left foot. Oh, it's a beautiful goal.
We want to have both foots and the body and everything on the plane, of course, but next obstacles to overcome, and we need to be ready.
The passport to the World Cup if they can win in Latvia.
Yeah, Thomas Tuchel's men guaranteed a first-place finish with a win against Latvia. Our next guest joins us now, live from Riga, talkSPORT's voice of football, Adrian Durham. Morning, Ed.
Morning, Ed.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali. Just as you join me, the sun comes out. It's been chucking it down, persistently raining all morning, and the sun has come out for you two. Brilliant.
It looks beautiful, doesn't it? Look at that. Look at the building behind you.
That is a stunning building behind you, Ed. But the one thing I would warn you about, there seems to be a dark cloud hovering behind that particular building, mate. So I don't know how much you're going to be in the sunshine for.
Well, what we know from our time in Riga so far is that at any moment it could suddenly start raining. So I could get very drenched here. That's a 19th century cathedral behind me. It looks glorious, doesn't it? But yeah, that cloud is more interesting for me as far as I'm concerned.
I tell you what, Aid, I was just reading Wikipedia. Riga is the home of the TV tower, which is the tallest building in the Baltic states. Have you seen it at all? You spotted it?
No. But what I would say is...
Lift your head.
What I would say is... Our producer, when we got out here, said it's Baltic out here. Yeah, it literally is, mate. I don't think he realised.
I love it, love it.
What are you expecting tonight, Ed? We've been speaking about it, and we just think England are a good place at this moment in time because excellent performance, particularly 30 minutes against Wales. Victory tonight, which we would expect. Again, automatic qualification. It's just, is it the level of performance that's most important now?
Well, most important is qualifying, so the win guarantees that, and I think that on paper we've got better players, so it's not being arrogant to suggest that England should win this tonight. So that's the first thing to tick off. Get the win, get qualified, and then you can start preparing from there. And I'm fascinated by this game tonight. I think England have got an interesting dilemma ahead. Tuchel's got an interesting dilemma ahead with regard to fullbacks. I think that's always going to be interesting between now and the World Cup itself. Who is in the 11? There's plenty of options, but who's going to be in that 11 come that first game in USA, Mexico, Canada? So I think that's fascinating. But also this Marcus Rashford thing is, I think it's stunning what Tuchel has said. Marcus Rashford has got to deliver, and I think tonight is the perfect time to deliver. He's been delivering numbers for Barcelona this season. Now start delivering numbers for England.
Yeah, he seems to use his motivational tools, Aid, very publicly, if you like.
Do you know what I've been thinking about this? Ever since we interviewed him at St George's Park, Stuart Pearce and I, and he came out with that line about Jude Bellingham. I won't repeat the word because everybody knows what we're talking about. I actually start to think that he's really smart and clever. His English is way better than we all think, and he knows exactly what he's saying and exactly what he's doing. So he's doing all this for a reason, Jeff, I think. So I think it's part of his management. He knows that his job is to win the World Cup. OK, and if he doesn't, he's failed because he's been brought in to go one step further than Gareth Southgate, and he's going about it in the way he feels will get the best out of all the players who are going to be involved in that World Cup. So I'm prepared to sign up to it, see what happens, and if we don't win the World Cup, let the inquest start.
I tell you, Ed, one player that's given himself, I think, an excellent opportunity to go and play in that particular World Cup is Elliot Anderson, mate. I mean, he's a player that I always knew could play, and I enjoyed watching him. But I just think he's taken his form and he's taken his game to another level.
You know what? When he was on loan at Bristol Rovers, his manager was Joey Barton, and Joey actually compared him to Maradona. And I kind of was doing my Saturday preparation. I noticed these quotes from Barton a couple of years ago, and I thought, is he having a laugh? Then started taking notice of Elliot Anderson. Now, not even I thought that he would be appearing at this coming World Cup, but Tuchel's described him as the full package, and he absolutely is. See, we've all been thinking, oh, Adam Wharton's got to get in. We haven't got a Rodri-style midfielder. Tuchel has made it clear. He made it clear to us last summer. He wants a Rodri-style midfielder. He sees Elliot Anderson as that man. He sees him as that full package. It would be no surprise now, given his performances under Tuchel, if he did start at the World Cup.
Yeah, no surprise at all. But hiding to nothingness in many ways, though, isn't it, as far as Tuchel's concerned, eh? 137th of the world, drew at home to Andorra at the weekend. Everybody back here is anticipating a thumping England win.
Yeah, but I think that's part of the problem we saw the other night with the crowd when Tuchel was fuming that the roof wasn't lifted off of Wembley. There's like a kind of crazy expectation, really. So England fans now, because they've got to a couple of finals and they even felt they underachieved by not winning those finals, they're now not satisfied even when they're wiping the floor with their opponents, as they did with Wales the other night, as they did with Serbia away in the last qualifier. Even a 3-0 win, for example, here in Riga tonight, live on talkSPORT, I'm not entirely convinced that the England public will be satisfied with that. But Tuchel's got to be aware that that's the nature of the job. It's how England fans have become. England haven't got to finals for years and years and years, and so there's a kind of lack of expectation, a lack of excitement, possibly because nobody believes they're going to go on and do it. He's got to prove them wrong and prove he's the man to bring it home.
Hey, quick question for you, mate. Can you maybe understand the potential views from outside England? Slight arrogance, perhaps the other home nations looking at England saying, and you could have mentioned it yourself, no matter what happens with England now, no matter what happens, there will no pleasing a section of England fans until they win either the Euros or the World Cup.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I think actually the lack of atmosphere the other night at Wembley was more to do with Wales being so uncompetitive. It was like a training exercise. It was that poor from Wales in the first 20 minutes, half an hour. And after that, there was no game. Now, Wales got a little bit better, but there was still no competition. There was no contest. Now, if say it was Argentina or Brazil, and it's a to and fro game, and it finishes 3-3, all of a sudden you're matching the world champions. You're going into a World Cup off the back of that. It was a hammering of Wales that was all over after 20 minutes. I mean, I get it that we should be excited about that, and there's a touch of arrogance about that, but they'd earned the right to be arrogant because they were so much better than Wales. I don't know, this arrogance thing gets thrown at England fans. None of us, I don't recall a time when any England fans went into a tournament fully expecting to win that tournament. I think the recent levels of success from Gareth Southgate's England have surprised a lot of us.
Ed, brilliant. Enjoy the game. Enjoy Riga.
Enjoy it, mate.
Cheers. I'll be applying for the Hartlepool job, so watch out for that one.
Yeah. Well, that's one application we've got. Thanks, Ed.
Well, we've got to read this. We've got to read this, Jeff.
Go on.
Right. Mark, the Villa fan.
Oh, I'm glad you're reading it.
He wants to know, has Ali swallowed an atlas for breakfast, although in second glance it could be a globe?
Very harsh
Very
indeed.
good. Very good. Indeed. Don't mind it.
He's got a body like a sportsman. Coming up, the international break nearly over. Rangers still don't have a manager. We'll ruin Ali's day next. Morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Another Dave Allen text. Read Dave Allen, he got up at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning, so I'm assuming that's the morning after the fight, to take one of his young fighters to the Midlands for his boxing pro licence interview. What a human.
Well, I've got to say, having listened to him there in that conversation that you and I had with him, doesn't surprise me.
No.
Look,
he's been, there's been so much love for him.
Yeah. Because the punters can tell, the listeners can tell. You know what I mean? He's just a good man.
Yeah. I've just lost all of my script off the screen at the moment.
It's just funny, I've got it. Would you like me to continue?
Yeah, why don't you carry on?
Okay, I'll just carry on then. Now, former Palace owner Simon Jordan has criticised, it doesn't say this, everybody really, that was me saying that, the pulling power of Rangers following the rejection of the return to Ibrox by 2021 title-winning boss Steven Gerrard.
If you're in the room, and putting aside the fact that you haven't done commercials, right? Because the commercials can be done once you've established the principle of what everyone wants. If everyone likes one another, they want to have a dance, then you can put the commercial around it, right? So you don't need to have commercials done to sit in a room to get people's position as to whether they want to work for Rangers and whether we want you. The fact that you go into a room with the two top guys, put Patrick Stewart in there and all this nonsense about his chief executive of Man United. No, he wasn't. He was interim. He was in a back room for 20 years or however long he was there. Put Kevin Thurwell in a room. Unimpressive in my view. But you put the main guys in there, and if they ain't impressive and they can't sell it to a potential manager, I would be slightly concerned if I was Rangers fans, without wanting to make a 4-act play out of it. Those guys sat in a room with a view to say, we're going to get closer now. We're going to get closer now, and we're going to make sure that everyone knows we're getting closer, because we made sure everyone knew that the bleeding thing was happening in the first place, and then we don't sell it.
Are they any closer to selling the Rangers job then? To anyone who would be good enough in the eyes of the fans?
Well, I hope so. I mean, the Stephen thing was a disappointment, clearly. It's an interesting one, though. I would be interested to know what changed Stephen's mind, or what didn't convince him. You know, because I said yesterday, what's of paramount importance to him? You know, I mean, Stephen, his family, and obviously that takes priority over everything, their welfare. So I'm thinking to myself, you know, is it maybe a financial thing where? But the more I think about it, Jeff, if it was that, he wouldn't have came for the interview in the first place, would he?
No.
He would have said, no, I'm sorry, it's just impossible, you know. So either they haven't sold him it, or I would suggest something's happened in the interview process that hasn't taken his fancy.
Well, maybe if he was obviously their preferred choice, maybe the onus is on the club to go back in for him with a better offer.
Of course it is. And I'm intrigued to know what that offer would be, because my point is, I don't think it's a financial problem. That would be my guess. So maybe he doesn't fancy the squad. Maybe he doesn't fancy working with whoever's there. Maybe he's been told there's no money. Maybe something's happened that we don't know about. But I think something's happened.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is, in today's world of social media, as much as anything, it's very, very difficult to keep your business, you know, under wraps in an ideal world, no matter what it is, whether it's a transfer, whether it's bringing somebody to the club, selling somebody, or a new manager, in an ideal world, if you can keep that under wraps until the last minute, brilliant. But it just doesn't happen nowadays for whatever reason. So you do leave yourself open to a little bit of criticism the way it's happened. But I do have a great degree of sympathy in terms of Rangers not getting Stephen. But I'd be interested to know the real reasons for him saying no or turning it down. There's still other people. I mean, obviously Danny Roll, Derek McInnes and boys like that. It'll be interesting. Ken Muscat's another one that's been I think Muscat's now favourite, who has had a great degree of success in the Far East in Australia. So, listen, I'm a Rangers man. It's still a very, very lucrative and important job, and I think it's only a matter of time. But I'll say it again, it's vitally important to get it right this time, and I really would, and I genuinely really would like to see somebody with a strong Rangers connection that knows the club and knows, as I say, just gets it.
Yeah.
In and around it.
I completely agree. Needs resolving pretty soon, doesn't it?
Yes.
That's for sure.
Well, I've got home game, is it Dundee United the weekend?
Yeah. Stuart has texted me, said, what a great FA Cup first round draw. I've been meaning to mention this for a while. He said, particularly for Essex football, you're dead right. Chelmsford City play local rivals Braintree for a price in round 2. I think it's only like 10, 12 miles between the two places, something like that. And Malden and Tiptree, I mentioned yesterday, they're the smallest side left in the competition. They're away to Port Vale. So others, Hemel Hempstead, Giant Killers, they beat Yeovil in the last qualifying round. Away to Wigan, so that's a pretty decent game for them. Gateshead, another long trip for them. They're away down at Wimbledon. Big Yorkshire derby, Barnsley against York.
I think we are doing the Friday night. I think I said to you the
Cheltenham.
Yeah. I don't know what game we're doing on the Friday.
I think it's Cheltenham on the Friday night. I think.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm not certain.
That's, for me, that's what it's all about. And I know you'll be the exact same. That's the beauty of that cup competition, or any cup competition in particular.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because effectively the final will be whoever the final will be, but it won't be the teams that we're going to watch.
To tell you how much the first round matters, for example, first round winner.
You just told, I cannot believe this.
£45,000 you get for winning in the first round. Now the clubs,
that's fortunes for some clubs.
Absolutely, for the Hartlepools and the Gatesheads and the Chelmsfords and the Braintrees, that is big money. So 45 grand for winning in the first round. Now then, history was made overnight in the West African island of Cape Verde as they joined Jordan and Uzbekistan in qualifying for the first ever World Cup finals. Let's hear from the Cape Verde defender, Pico Lopez, who plays his club football for Shamrock Rovers. Apologies, if you're watching this, we'll need subtitles because of his Cape Verde accent. Here he is now.
It means everything to me. Since I was a little boy, and I know it's the same for the guys in the dressing room, since we were all little kids playing football, we dreamed of playing football at the highest stage, and there's no bigger stage than the World Cup. So to do this, to be the first Cape Verdean team here, to lift all the people, the nation, to put them on that stage, there's no better feeling than that.
I mean, how good is that?
Brilliant. Yeah.
In so many counts, that's just absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant.
I don't care who you are or where you are, right? But unless you were aware of Pico Lopez, I refuse point blank to expect anybody to have expected him to sound like that.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Born in Ireland.
Yes, of course.
But his dad is from Cape Verde.
It's great.
And that's the reason
isn't it?
that he plays for. So are you looking forward to seeing Cape Verde, Jordan and Uzbekistan playing in the World Cup?
Well,
I tell you what,
I'm going to tell you right now, I'll be looking forward to seeing Pico Lopez. I will.
Absolutely.
I definitely will.
I was wandering through Gatwick the other day, and it just happened to catch my eye that there was an Uzbekistan Airlines flight about to depart, and they're off to Tashkent. Regular flight, apparently. With your geographical knowledge, you'll know exactly where Uzbekistan is.
No, it's not far from Kazakhstan.
It's not. Kazakhstan borders it.
I know that.
And so does Afghanistan borders it as well.
Well, there was a great quiz question.
All the stands are together, aren't they?
Exactly.
It's true.
I know it is. I think that's the one thing that certainly one of the things that we got right. We kept all the stands together.
Yeah, brilliant.
Uzbekistan.
Yeah, so Cape Verde, Uzbekistan.
I think I told you, Kazakhstan is the 8th biggest country in the world or something. It's amazing. And I think it's the biggest country in the world without a coastline.
Is it?
I might be talking nonsense. He's away again.
Yeah.
It's got me.
I know that Uzbekistan is landlocked, so I guess Kazakhstan is as well. Anyway, let's get back to football, because coming up, we're joined live by the Northern Ireland manager, Michael O'Neill.
Did it get its name? Just the thoughts of holes 11, 12 and 13 at Augusta National gives the likes of Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth the shivers. McIlroy hit 3 over and Spieth hit 4 over in their final rounds to blow their hopes of a green jacket in 2011 and 2016 respectively. But did you know Amen Corner's name is inspired by a jazz song from 1933? American sports writer Herbert Warren Wint, on the left here, wrote about it in 1958, referencing the song shouted in that Amen Corner when describing the run. Hole 11 is a par 4 over 520 yards with a green guarded by a pond and bunkers to the front edge. 12, perhaps golf's most famous hole, is a par 3 over just 155 yards. The green's guarded by Rays Creek at the front, more bunkers and azalea bushes ready to punish the smallest error. Then there's the 13th that teases the hook shot over the trees. It's a dogleg par 5 over 545 yards that's inviting for big hitters who want to reach the green in 2. If you want to win the Masters, you have to keep your score down around Amen Corner. So who'll be the next to fall victim to golf's most famous and most daunting challenge?
morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, and Arnold Clark. Get £750 off any used electric car or home charger. Back to the football in a moment, but Coisty has got another Kazakhstan fact that he wants to impart.
Well, I'm going to tell you it now. My great wee pal, friend of the show, Carol Frampton's been on, and he's told me once again, Coisty, spot on. Spot on, he says. Kazakhstan is the biggest landlocked country in the world, and he also throws this into the equation, and also the biggest cotton producer in the world. There you are. Yeah. Thanks for that, Carol.
You know what else? Melons. No, melons are big in Kazakhstan. Well, are important to Kazakhstan.
Steady.
True.
Steady. And also crude oil.
Dan has texted, said, "Morning, Jeff and Ali. I'm wondering how expensive my Panini album will be for the next World Cup. We will need some Panini aid." Brilliant, Dan. Thank you.
Great line.
Now, time to take a look at today's top headlines, thanks to Movember.
Get ready with Movember on talkSPORT for the stars is calling. Grow and mow, raise funds, save lives. Sign up now at Movember.com.
Well, the big story over the international break has been the resurgence of Northern Ireland. Absolutely brilliant in their win over Slovakia. Couldn't quite get anything against Germany last night in Belfast, but my word, it was one heck of an attempt. To give us more on this, let's bring in the Northern Ireland manager, Michael O'Neill. Morning, Michael.
Good morning, Michael.
Morning, guys. How are we doing?
We're excellent, mate. We're excellent. What do you think? How are you doing, actually? Because I'm imagining last night, we both watched the game, and last night you must have been so proud of your boys and at the same time extremely disappointed. So how are you this morning?
Yeah, I suppose a little bit of both. You know, we were, you know, the lads gave everything, obviously, in the game, and the dressing room was down last night. But you know, you come away from it and you reflect on it a little bit. I think the nature of how we lost the game, like we lost the game off a corner, and we're good normally in that situation. You know, we've not conceded at home for about 5 games, so it was disappointing, the nature of the goal. A little bit of a freak goal as well. It comes off Walter Maid's shoulder rather than his head, and that's a deciding moment in the game. So when you lose a game like that, you're always a little bit more frustrated and disappointed with. But look, you know, the team's come a long way, and we have to, you know, be ready for, you know, the last 2 games and give ourselves the best chance possible.
When you look at your squad as well, Michael, you know, and I'm certainly not being dismissive, because I mean, last night I love the performances of the likes of Shay Charles and Ethan Galbraith and Dan Ballard, brilliant. But you had to knit together players from Stevenage, Huddersfield, Blackpool, Oxford, you know, and competing with the likes of a mighty German side. You know, it's an incredible achievement that you're right in the game, right to the last moments.
Yeah, I think, look, you know, we probably most of our players are EFL players and Premier League players, and obviously when we play the likes of Germany, we're competing against players who are predominantly, you know, Bundesliga and Champions League players. So it is a big step up, and I think sometimes in crucial moments of the game it does show, but in terms of like application and desire to play, and you know, we have a good structure, we're well organised, and the players have been brilliant to work with. We're also quite young. We're a young international team, and, you know, I think that's kept us in the games. And I think, like, in the space of, like, 18 months, 2 years, we've made a lot of progression. And, you know, it would have been lovely to get a big scalp like a Germany, but it wasn't to be on the night.
Michael, you mentioned it there, and I think it's an interesting one. You said you're a relatively young team, which you are. With that in mind, would you say you were in any way a little bit surprised at where you are with this young team? Because me personally, I think it's remarkable. I think it's great. And even the result last night, the performance before against Slovakia, but also the performance in Germany. And you've got 2 games to go. It still could be a great campaign. Has it in any way surprised you?
I think, you know, we did well in the Nations League in the earlier part, you know, September, October, November, and we won our Nations League, but we were playing at League C level, which probably the team needed at that point in time. And then we took on tough friendlies in March and June to give them a little bit of exposure to what would lie ahead. And, you know, we took a bit of a doing in Sweden. You know, we were beat 5-1. We're extremely young that night. But now, you know, when we are at full strength, we've got what we have is real athleticism in our team, you know, and we missed Connor last night. Connor Bradley not playing was a big blow to us. So it allows us to play, like, you know, we're really good without the ball. You know, we still have to improve with the ball. That's something that, you know, we need to work on. But we're probably ahead of where we should be at this minute in time, if I'm honest. But the thing with the players is, you know, they're getting better all the time. I think we see a lot of things where their club careers are improving as well. You know, lads getting a move from League One into the Championship into the Premier League. So hopefully over time we'll end up with more Premier League players and obviously more players hopefully playing at the top end of the Championship as well.
Yeah, I mean, 2 big games to come. I think, you know, Connor will be back for the visit to Slovakia. I think you lose Ethan Galbraith, don't you, after his yellow card last night, which is a big blow. But look, away to Slovakia, home to Luxembourg. You've got to believe you can take 6 points from those 2 games.
Yeah, certainly. Like, you know, if we could have got a result last night, it would put us in with a real chance of topping the group. But that's probably not beyond us now, given that Germany have control of the group, I think, with the fixtures that they finish with. But probably 4 points will even give us a real chance of second place in the group and a playoff. And really, at the outset, that was our kind of target. You know, when you're drawn in a group of 4 with Germany, you don't really expect to be able to finish above Germany. But, you know, we were realistic with that. And we feel a little bit, you know, the performances in both games, we probably think, well, we were closer than maybe what we thought we would be. But certainly the last 2 games are massive games for us to play for. And hopefully we can have something to play for in March.
Michael, I was just thinking, mate, and I was having a quick look with I think it was 8 second half substitutions. I think you were well within your rights to be a little bit disappointed in the stoppage time.
Oh my God!
I know, mate. Diabolical, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought the referee was overly fussy on the night. I thought, to be honest, you know, I never liked really. The great thing, international football, you're barely allowed to say a word to the 4th official, so it's very different from club football. So you have to bite your tongue a little bit, but. I just thought on the night, you know, some of the decisions were a little bit over fussy, and then to 2 minutes. The ironic thing is that I think he added 3 minutes at the start, at the end of the first half, and then add 2 minutes at the end of the game, given all the substitutions. It surprised everyone, I think, and just we were a little bit disappointed with the performance of the officials.
I can't remember the last time I ever saw 2 minutes at a time coming up on a ball,
exactly, yeah. Exactly, but
it was bewildering. But look, you must be loving life. What a dream it would be if you could take this, as you say, really youthful side to a World Cup finals, eh, Michael?
Oh, it'd be amazing. Like, you know, look, it's 10 years since we went to France 2016, and 1986 was the last time we went to a World Cup. You know, I'm not sure, Coach, you maybe went in that date as well. I'm not sure with Scotland, but it shows you how long it is and what it would mean to like a country like ourselves to go and get the opportunity to go. It would be huge. You know, a major tournament is such a fact on the whole country, really, and hopefully we can get the chance to do that. You know, whether we have to come through the playoff route, you know, we're prepared to go that way, and yeah, we still believe we can get there.
Michael, just a quick one. You've obviously got a great squad of boys there that you're working with and you're enjoying it. What about your backroom staff? You've always got a good set of boys there.
We've got, well, you know, you probably can tell my voice is a bit hoarse at the minute, and that's down to Jimmy Nicholl, Coasty, you know what I mean?
I was nudging you in that general direction, Michael.
Well, I'm going to go down for breakfast here, and I would imagine that Jimmy's still up, probably. Now we've got some great, you know, obviously Stephen, you manage the Rangers team, Davis,
great
part of the backroom staff. We've got really good staff here, and it's, you know, probably, I think now the team's better prepared than it's ever been. You know, I look back to we had more experience in the team before with Johnny and Stephen when they were playing, and, you know, the likes of Craig Cathcart, Chris Baird, Chris Brunt, Gareth McCauley. This is a different dynamic, a different group of players, much younger, and we've got really good staff around them. And as I say, you know, we're just enjoying these trips. We're trying to get the most out of them. And as I say, we look forward to November now.
Brilliant, Michael. Please pass my best wishes on to the boys, mate. Brilliant.
I will do.
Michael, brilliant effort, mate. Good luck in the next 2 games.
Cheers, guys. All the best.
Mate. All the best.
See you now.
Michael O'Neill on Northern Ireland's rousing effort, really.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the game.
Look, they reduced in the last 20 minutes. They reduced the Germans to hacking the ball out of play, to rolling around, delaying substitutions. So I'm not criticising them for that because that's what teams do. But it's great credit to Northern Ireland, that's for sure. And that was a look at today's top headline. Thanks to Movember. Sign up now at Movember.com. Just before we move on, James in Beckenham. I'm not sure I believe this. Said, fact for Ali and Jeff, Kazakhstan is one of the only countries that is landlocked but has a navy. Well, I would imagine is it the Caspian Sea? There'll be I think there's a sea. There's no ocean, which is what I meant. Is it not? Would it be the Caspian Sea or the Black Sea? Get that snoring thing going again. Hey, so has he got a navy? He has got a navy, apparently. Well, that's what James in Beckenham says. The one I enjoyed was Kaliningrad, which is an enclave. It's a Russian enclave, and they kept it. It's not in Russia at all, but it's an enclave, and they kept it because it was the only port that they had in the Baltic that didn't freeze over. I bet there's some kids at home today. They've nicked off school and are missing geography, but you've made up for that. Thanks very much. Every day's a school day. Coming next, we'll cross over and hear about AFC Tottenham as they travel 200 miles tonight to face Truro. I'm sure Ali's got loads of thrilling Truro facts ready for us. Their manager, Jimmy Ball, is with us next.
Get ready with Movember on talkSPORT. Grow moustache, raise funds, save lives and change the face of men's health. Sign up now at Movember.com.
Morning, it's 9:50 on Tuesday, October the 14th. You're listening to Talk Geography this morning with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, who has discovered what he really wanted to know.
Yep.
Kazakhstan and the Caspian Sea. Tell us.
Yeah, they border each other.
They border each other.
And just for the record, unless I'm mistaken, the Caspian Sea might be the biggest inland body of water in the world.
Wow. Good to know, I think. Duncan from Lochwinnock says, Kaliningrad is indeed an enclave.
Thank you.
The reason they keep it is because it's the only port that doesn't freeze in winter. How's that?
I just said that.
Is it?
That's exactly what I said.
Guess what? I wasn't listening.
I know.
Why do you think that was, Ali?
I don't blame you. Don't blame you, mate.
Right. Still a few minutes left in the show before Jim White and Simon Jordan take you through till 10 o'clock. So let's look at some football happening tonight. An FA Cup fourth round qualifying replay between Truro City and AFC Tottenham. Now, Tottenham are making the, 400-mile round trip as it is. I don't know, I'm guessing around 8 hours. But if J. Emmanuel Thomas had scored a penalty in the 97th minute, they wouldn't have to. Someone who can tell us just how the team is feeling ahead of this one is the AFC Tottenham manager, Jimmy Bourne. Morning, Jimmy.
Good morning, Jimmy.
Good morning, men. How are we?
Oh,
we're good, thanks, mate. Look, did J. Emmanuel Thomas get a bit of stick from the boys when he came back in the dressing room on Saturday?
I have no idea. You know, we backed him to score it and... hit the crossbar. So you just got to wipe your mouth with that and get on with it and go and play another game, unfortunately.
Jimmy, in terms of the logistics now, I mean, we're having a giggle, but it must be quite serious because all of a sudden, I'm guessing, there's lads have to totally rearrange their day for this particular fixture this evening. And I'm guessing that must come with some certain difficulties.
Yeah, absolutely. We run a school here at the club, and two of the lads teaching it, and I was told yesterday they can't play because they've got to teach in the school. So, but we've managed to get some cover, and they'll be with us tonight. So it's but a few of them have had to change some things around. One of them had a wedding in Scotland that he was due to go in Edinburgh that he was due to go to. He's had to change his flights and stuff like that. So you just got to roll with it and be quite calm, and whoever's available for me, then they're available, and we go and play.
Yeah. So what time are you setting off?
We're setting off at 11 o'clock. We've got, we get down there about 4:30, have a bite to eat and get everyone off the bus and a little walk as you do, just to try and stretch the legs, a bit of food, and then over across to the ground. The hotel's about half hour from the ground where we're having a bit of a pre-match. And
see, it's amazing that you forget. So you're roughly talking, if my maths is okay, Jimmy, you're talking about 5.5 journey down there on the bus. I'm guessing, or I might be wrong, do you have a couple of stops en route to let the boys stretch their legs and obviously do what they've got to do?
Yeah, we've got a pickup as well. So some of them can drive, a 45 minutes and park up so that they're quicker home tonight. So we'll have a pickup about an hour and a half away from the ground, and then a little stop, and then get to the hotel about 4:30.
Look, I mean, you're sitting pretty at the moment in the National League South. I've been down to the ground. I know what it's like. It's a nice setup, and I'm guessing promotion is a priority. But a cup run, you've got Macclesfield potentially away in the next round. 45 grand if you win that game. I mean, that's massive to a club like Tottenham, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is, yeah. But it brings its pressure. And my job is to take all of that pressure away and just go and treat this like another game. I thought we were good Saturday without being at our best. Obviously, Truro is a completely different sort of kettle of fish because the record down there is very good, and you kind of understand why everyone's got to travel there and all that entails. So we're going to have to go there, be better than we were Saturday, but I think we can be and be positive. And then obviously Macclesfield, same level as us. We go there with let's have a game and see what happens. So it's all positive. I'm just trying to keep it that way and take away that financial pressure that will come from above. Not meaning to, but like you say, it'll have a big impact on the football club with that sort of money injection.
Certainly has a lot of money, Jimmy. Here's a question for you, and it might be a ridiculous question. Do you take any supporters down with you? I mean, Well, there's my question. How many would you take down? Do they make their own way, or did some of them got on the bus? How does it operate?
Yeah, we went to Torquay earlier, and we had Torquay second or third game of the season, and we took 60 or 70 fans down there, which isn't a lot, but they make a lot of noise. And I think that there'll be about that tonight. Hopefully, maybe more because of the the size of the game. We'll possibly take between 70 and 100 people there tonight, and I'm sure they'll shout and sing as loud as they can and help us. And it means a lot to the players. I know it doesn't seem like a lot of people, but the fact that people sacrifice and pay their money and make that kind of commitment to you, it means a lot to the players. And fair play to them for doing it, because it's a slap.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy, it's brilliant. Support at that level, it's just fantastic. And the fans are just as committed, if not more committed, than some of the fans higher up the pyramid are. I tell you what, you lot down there at Tottenham, it's sort of a bit like the Hollywood team of Hampshire, isn't it? You've got a few stars. I mean, obviously, your dad was one of the most loved England footballers ever.
Yep.
You've got James Beattie, director of football. I think Tiz comes in from time to time, doesn't he?
Tiz does, yeah. Tiz is sort of involved in a club up the road, so he comes in when we're playing against them. But obviously, he's a good friend of both mine and Beats's, so yeah, he pops in when he can. And yeah, it's there's a few people down here. Obviously, Southampton connections with with my dad and Beats being the director of football, myself as a manager. We we've got a lot of contacts, and we try to use them to help this football club to progress, and that's the aim, and that's what the owners and the board want, is to continue and have a bit of success with this football club. So just trying to do our best with that and help the club out as well we can, and win as many games as possible.
National League next?
We're trying. Yeah, we're trying. This league is very tough to get out of. And especially with this, I think there's 11 full-time teams in this league now.
Wow.
So it's not a non-league part-time league anymore, really. So we're having a go and playing some good football. I'm happy with how we've recruited, and the squad looking good. I've probably got about 900 league games in my squad, so I've got some experience, and just do the best we can.
Jimmy, good luck tonight.
Best of luck, mate.
And a safe journey as well.
Yeah.
By the way.
Isn't that great? Imagine those boys going down to watch that game as well. Isn't it magic?
I know. 4 hours either way, more than that in actual fact as well. But yeah, you will take fans. There are fans who are so committed and so dedicated that they will be at Tottenham's game
no matter
what may, come hail or shine, and regardless of the cost or the distance. I take my hat off to them. Brilliant.
Me too.
Mutina's just texted and said, Ali's degree from the Dean Saunders University is coming in very handy today. Coisty, loved you.
Oh, what a great. Really enjoyed it, mate. Really enjoyed it.
So you're having a day or two off. Who's sitting in for you tomorrow? Oh, Crow's sitting in for you tomorrow. Me?
Yes, you've got it. Did you not? Well, I'm sure you might have been aware of that. But you've got, yes.
Anyway, look.
Big shoes to fill.
Hey, no, look, my knowledge of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan now, that'll stand me in good stead tomorrow.
I really enjoyed it.
When I'll be with the former Watford, West Brom and Manchester United goalkeeper Ben Foster, who'll be with me all the way from 6. Have a great break, Coisty. Next
Cheers, mate.
Is Jim White and Simon Jordan.